Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto wears a mask fairy tale. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by AmusedLight, and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Kingdom of Fiori, Magnolia. In a place far far away was the Kingdom of Fiori, a stable neutral place with a population of over 17 million people, is a place filled with magic. Magic is commonly exchanged and play a key part in people's lives. And there are people who earn money by using this magic. People call them mages. Mages join various guilds where they do jobs by request. Amongst the countless guilds that are spread around the country, one certain guild is located in the city of Magnolia, where in the past and even now holds home to many legends. Its name is Fairy Tale. And right now here, a celestial mage by the name of Lucy Heartfilia, who always wanted to join the infamous magic guild, now was standing in the middle of the everyday life of this guild. Bastard! A pink-haired mage with his noticeable scarf yelled as he punched his fellow guildmate into a bunch of tables. He was raised by a dragon and likes to eat fire. His name was Natsu Drangneel. Lucy began to panic when she saw this. Why? Natsu angrily yells at his guildmate that information you gave about Salamander was fake. The guildmate stood up as he was pissed. How could I've known? I just told you the rumors I'd heard, that's all. What did you say? Want a fight? In a matter of seconds the guild started to do its daily activity, fighting amongst each other like a drunken bar fight. Happy, a small flying cat, tried to be the adult here. Take it easy, Natsu, that's enough. But before he could finish his sentence, Happy was hit by a person sent flying and flew against the heads of mages around like a ping-pong game. Soon everybody started fighting in front of the young celestial mage. Amazing, I really made it to Fairy Tale. Would he be here? Lucy looked around as she was trying to find the person she hoped to see in here, but instead was shocked by what she saw. There stood a teen about her age, wearing nothing but his underwear for no reason, having black hair, a cross necklace and a fairy tale stamp on his right bicep. This was Grateful Buster, an ice mage. You said Natsu is back? Gray turned around to go and approach the brawl where Natsu was part of. Let's settle our previous fight, Natsu. Gray, your clothes. Gray looked down and yells, ah, crap, not again. Lucy turned to the counter, seeing the person who warned Gray was a woman also about their age. She was a beautiful woman with a slender yet admirable body with long, mid-back length brown hair. She is wearing a light blue bikini top which features a camouflage pattern, a pair of capri pants, with two bands hanging from each leg, and a light belt covered in heart motifs loosely tied around the waist with high-heeled sandals. This woman was Kana Alberona. This is why I hate most men here, she sighed as she grabbed for a barrel in the back. They are so undignified. Lucy saw how she started downing the barrel like it was nothing. Wow. Hey Natsu, fight me. Gray dared him while walking towards the flame-eating troublemaker. Natsu was busy fighting another guildmate, and turned around saying, come back with some clothes. Yapping in the middle of the day, a man with wooden sandals. You aren't kids anymore. Lucy turned around to see it was a big tall guy with spiky white hair wearing a blue coat. This was Elfman Strauss. He is a mage who rather likes to fight with fists. He held his fist up. A man should talk with his fists. Lucy found herself in a more awkward situation, so all he does is fight. Get out of the way. Natsu and Gray turned around and together punched Elfman towards the other side of the room. And he got beaten. In one corner was Loki, a mage that was top ranked as most desirable mage. He was currently busy with two ladies. Oh, so noisy, he started to go give the girls who he was with more intimate time. Say, what about we? Then someone threw something against his face and he stood up, joining the fight. Before that he said to the two ladies, I'll join the fight, just for you. The two girls drooled while replying, good luck. Well, not on my list anymore. Lucy's sweat dropped while crossing out his name from her book before turning around, asking herself, what's with this place? There isn't a single normal person in here. Hey Mira, look what Natsu brought in. Oh, a newcomer? Lucy turned around to see who was talking. First was a young petite girl with short, white hair and blue eyes, wearing a light blue striped shirt, with green short shorts and sneakers. She was holding onto a plate filled with food. This was Lisanna Strauss. Next to her was her older sister. She wore sleeveless, ankle-length maroon dress with a pleated skirt. The chest is adorned by a large, pink bow, and similarly colored trimmings frame the rather ample neckline, acting as straps, and circle around the waist. Her hair is also long with two bangs flowing by her shoulders and a small ponytail on her forehead, and she wears high heels that fit her dress. She, like her sister, also possesses beautiful blue eyes. She was also holding onto a plate, only was it filled with drinks for the patrons. Oh my god, you're Mary Jane! The real one. Lisanna smiled at her sister. Looks like you got a fan here, sister. Mary Jane chuckled nervously. Oh, it's what I expect, I guess. Lucy saw they were thinking she was some stalker fan and began speaking. Oh, please don't think I'm some kind of stalker. Oh, don't worry. Mary Jane calmed her down while putting a hand on her shoulder. I'm very flattered that you are a fan of mine. It's just that I should have considered the advice that was given to me with some of the photoshoots, especially the ones that are too revealing. She blushed slightly as she thought about that. Lisanna pulled back Mary Jane slightly so she wouldn't be hit by Elfman, who got sent flying, before giving a smirk remark. Well, the results didn't seem to bother you much after you showed those pictures to him. Mary Jane blush turned into a fume as she gave a small glare to her sister, who laughed at her reaction. Really, Lisanna? Sometimes you are just mean. Lisana laughed slightly before being joined by Mira Jane, who couldn't stay angry longer, and also was then joined by Lucy, who couldn't help but join in. Lisana stopped and asked curiously, Lucy, so Lucy, why do you want to join Fairy Tale? Lucy found herself quite taken back by that question as she looked down nervously. Well, I always heard such fascinating stories about the legendary wizards, the prestige, but also, to be honest, I also had doubts before joining. This got both sisters staring at each other before turning back. What changed your mind? Lucy started to have a slight tint on her cheek. Well, 3 years ago, when I was walking back home, I was attacked by some thugs who were threatening to rob me, and when they cornered me, a guy my age beat them all down with his magic. I asked him who he was and simply said his name was the Shadow of Fairy Tale. Wait, you met Natsu stopped when he heard that, and before he could ask he was punched in the face by Grey. Lisana and Mira Jane turned towards each other and giggled. That's him, all right. You know him? Lucy asked. Know him? He's practically family. He's on a mission right now, but I suppose he should come back today. Even though he finished his mission 3 days ago, Lisana explained. Why take 3 days after a mission? Lucy asked with curiosity. Mira Jane gave an eyebrow. Because he has a habit of coming late and coming up with an excuse like a black cat passed by and I needed to go the other way around. Lucy's sweat dropped. Who would use an excuse like that? Achoo. A person wearing a long brown sneezed. Okay, either I'm getting sick or someone is talking about me. Wait, I never get sick. The person who was wearing a cloak over him spoke to himself as looked over to what stood in front of him. The Fairy Tale Guild Hall. Ah, home sweet home. I wonder if that's enough. A loud demanding voice said as the building vibrated a little bit. Yep, that's Gramps. I wonder who caused havoc first. The person said as he walked through that door. Nice to meet you. Makarov greeted the awe-stricken Lucy. Is he your master? Lucy pointed at the rather short but powerful guild leader, Makarov Dreyer, the third guild leader of the legendary Fairy Tale Guild. He was just in a moment a giant black figure that stopped everybody inside the guild from fighting and stamped on Natsu like it was nothing. Mira Jane chuckled at that remark. Yes, he is Fairy Tale's master Makarov. Makarov turned around and jumped towards the second floor, not without landing horrible on his back. Before recovering, he spoke to the guild. You've gone and done it again. You brats. All of the guild members looked down embarrassed at what he meant. It was no secret that even though Fairy Tale was one of the strongest, they were also one of the most hell-raisers around the kingdom, like how Natsu just a few days destroyed a whole dock. That was nothing compared to the long sheets Master Makarov was holding onto. And it was a whole lot of it. Makarov brought forwards the paperwork to show it. Just take a look at how much paperwork the Magic Council sent me this time. This is the biggest pile of complaints yet. The hooded person walked through the door and saw everybody was paying attention to Master Makarov's explanation with the complaints he received. The old man looked ticked off. Have you lost your minds? All you kids are good for is getting the higher-ups mad at me. All of the guildmates started to look down in shame. However, Makarov's irritation faded away as he burned the papers in his hands into a bowl of fire. I say to heck with the Magic Council. He threw the fire bowl up front for Natsu to eat it up like he always do. Now listen up, any power that surpasses reason still comes from reason, right? Magic isn't some kind of miraculous power. It is a talent that only works when the flow of energy inside of us and the flow of energy in the natural world are in perfect match. The hooded person smiled at the speech. To perform magic, one must have a strong mind and the ability to focus. It should take over your being and come pouring out of your soul. If all we do is worry about following rules, then our magic will never progress. Don't let those blowhards on the council scare you. Follow the path you believe in, because that is what makes the Fairy Tale Guild #1. The room was soon filled with cheering as everybody believed in the words of Master Makarov. He saw every member in his guild as his children. And of course, when children learn, it happens it could cause trouble. The hooded person chuckled as he spoke out, still giving good speeches. Huh, master? Everybody turned around to see where it came from. They saw it was a person wearing a hoodie and saw he was smirking underneath the hood. Lucy was the first to ask Mira Jane, who's he? The person removed his hoodie, revealing it to be a person wearing a black mask that covers his muscular chin and recognizable whisker marks, and had spiky blonde hair that wasn't too short or too long, with wearing a bandana tied up around his forehead and covered his left eye. The person eye smiled as he waved. Everybody miss me? For some reason, Lucy couldn't help but blush. Oh my, he's Dash. Naruto is back. Someone exclaimed as the whole guild went crazy out of happiness. Mira Jane approached him with a soft smile. Glad to see you're back, Naruto. I'm also glad to be back, Mira-chan, Naruto said in friendly terms to the mage, as it obviously made her blush slightly. Makarov walked towards him. Naruto, my boy, how was your request? Any troubles? Nah, master, it all went good. Naruto pulled out a bag that looked like it was ready to shred. I've got enough jewels to pay my rent for almost 6 months. And are you planning to do nothing for 6 months? Makarov asked. Of course not. Naruto raised the bag. All drinks and food are today. 10 minutes later, Naruto was sitting at the bar while eating a bowl of ramen. He slurped up the liquid before putting it down out of satisfaction. Ah, you and your sister's ramen are one of the best I've ever eaten, Lisana. Mind giving me some water? Lisana smiled while taking the bowl and walked to the back. Sure, one water coming up. Makarov, who was sitting on the counter, asked the former shinobi, and my boy, have you seen Urza on your way? Actually I did. She said she was looking for the beast she was hunting for. I offered her my services but declined kindly, saying she wants to handle this alone. Naruto answered as he drank his water that Lee-sana brought. Makarov smirked. Of course she does, you really are the big brother here, aren't you? Naruto scratched his head. Well, I don't want to go that far. They both laughed. Is my dad back yet? Naruto turned around to see Romeo standing there. Romeo was Mikao's son. He was a kid that was about 12, he believed. Makarov sighed as he wanted to say something, but Naruto just waved him not to say anything. Naruto turned to the young Romeo and asked gently, why? What is it with your father, young Romeo? Romeo quietly nervously answered, my dad said he was going on a request on MT Hakob. He said it would take 3 days, but it has been a week. Romeo became scared. I think something. Hey. I know your father, he's a strong mage, alright? He can handle it. Naruto tried to assure to the boy that his father was alright. Romeo just looked down as he was about to cry, but he then felt a hand grab his head and saw it was Naruto, who held a smile. But if you are really worried about him, I don't think it's such a bad idea to let someone check him out. Naruto turns his head to the person who would do the job. Ain't that a good idea, Natsu? Natsu, who was listening to the whole conversation, nodded and seriously yes. Then you mind going out looking for Mikao? Of course I don't mind. Natsu said as he turned to his companion. Come on, Happy, to MT Hakob. Alright. Happy saluted as they both walked out of the building. Also with them they dragged the newcomer for no apparent reason. Romeo on the other hand began to worry more as he saw Natsu leave. But, hey listen, Romeo turned back to Naruto, who gave him a welcoming and warm-giving smile. Natsu isn't somebody who stays on the sidelines while somebody is in trouble, so just put some trust in him, alright? He is a big brother figure to you, isn't he? Romeo started to act up and nod yes. Then have trust in him, okay? Romeo smiled. Okay. Now go back to your mom, she must be worried about you, isn't she? Romeo remembered what time it was. Oh no, I've got to go. Romeo ran towards the exit, but before he waved to Naruto, see you tomorrow, Naruto. Naruto smiled as he waved back till tomorrow, Romeo. The rest of the guild smiled at the carrying character of Naruto, always coming up with the right words for someone who was in need. Many liked that about him. Naruto turned to Makarov. Hey Gramps, mind if I take a nap in one of the guest rooms? I'm quite tired to be honestly. Makarov smiled. Sure Naruto, you know the way. Thanks. Naruto stood up as he waved the others. See you guys later. Sleep well Naruto. Everybody else said as he went upstairs. Naruto now had his cloak off and was now in his pajamas, which consisted of just only his shirt and underpants. But as he was lying down he wasn't sleeping. Instead he was staring at the ceiling while remembering something. He grabbed his chest. It's been 3 years. 3 years before the events. Night fell over Konoha, or also known as the village hidden in the leaf, with everybody going to sleep. It was a day of panic and unanswered questions as a series of events unfolded within the last few months that occurred in the strongest shinobi village of the whole continent. With first being the failed Oto/Suna invasion of Konoha during the finals of the Chunin exams, resulting the death of countless of shinobis on both sides, and that of the third Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi. The crisis of finding a new Hokage, which ended up with Lady Tsunade, one of the legendary Sannin, and the defection of Sasuke Uchiha as he tried to defect to Otogekyo with the help of the Sound 4. That failed thanks to the efforts of a group of Leaf Ninja that was led by the Chunin Shikamaru Nara, who just recently gained this promotion despite of his young age. With their full strength the Sound 4 were defeated by Shikamaru, Chuji, Niji, Kiba, the backup of Suna and Lee. But the one who completed the mission was the blonde Naruto Uzumaki. He fought Sasuke at the Valley of the End and dragged his unconscious body back to the village. A few weeks went by as for now, after all the events and the deeds of Naruto, all the shinobi who encountered him and mistrusted started to think differently about him. But the civilians and one over-emotional pink-haired shinobi downright started to bash him even more, like it was always the case. But now, those thoughts were going to be changed once again. Boom! The Hokage building exploded as the roof was covered in flames. Several shadows jumped away from rooftop to rooftop after the explosion occurred. One of those shadows landed on the rooftop of his own house. It was Naruto, wearing not his orange jumpsuit but instead a standard blue shirt and pants with the whirlpool sign on the shoulder, and wearing sandals. Naruto held on his left eye that was bleeding as he took some deep breaths, looking at the damage he had done to the building. Also he had his mouth covered in fresh bandages as he obtained an injury in the event. I'm sorry Granny, old man Kakashi, Erosen and Sasuke team, everyone. I did what I had to do. It's for the safety of the village, Naruto said as he clutched his free hand as he knew there was no turning back now. His home, his dream. It's all over now. He took out his headband and puts it on the ground so he could pick out his kunai. He took a moment to understand what he was doing. He carved a big scratch through the leaf symbol as a clone of his landed next to him. Shit. That's a big explosion. The person turned to Naruto. Hey boss, you coming or what? Naruto had the headband now on his head and answered, I'm ready. Let's go. They both jumped away as they jumped through the rooftops, going straight for one of the gates. You know you just marked yourself as a rogue ninja, right? The clone said as they were coming closer to the gate. Naruto said nothing as they now were close to the gate. They just had to run through it, and they had an open window for just a moment. Then 2 spotting lights went on and were set on the 2 shinobi, forcing them to stop. Naruto Uzumaki, freeze! Naruto gritted as he knew that voice. He made his trademark hand sign. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Dozens of Narutos appeared as he ordered split up. Right. They all responded as they all went different directions as several leaf shinobi started pursuing them. One of them was his teacher, who was standing on a rooftop overseeing how one of his students was fleeing. Naruto was sprinting through the streets as he jumped through a few alleyways as he disappeared into a corner that was pitch black. 3 leaf ninja, 2 chunin and 1 jounin landed in front of the corner as they looked around. Where is he? Where's that demon brat? The jounin demanded. We must have lost his tracks. The chunin said as he was catching his breath. Little bastard is fast, I give him that. The other chunin gritted his teeth. I knew that demon brat couldn't be trusted. The third Hokage was a fool to let him become a ninja, and now look. He attempted to kill the whole council. He pointed at the Hokage building, which was now fully on fire as shinobi with water-style jutsu were trying to put the fire down. It doesn't matter right now. Our mission now is to kill that brat. He's obviously a traitor, as he even broke out one of Orochimaru's ninjas. Now let's split up, the jounin ordered as he left the 2 chunin. Right. They both also jumped away. Out of the dark corner, Naruto walked out the alley as he watched the ninja going at different directions. Okay, I lost them for now. Naruto flinched at the stinging pain in his eye. Arg, that hurts like hell. You get used to it, I know. Naruto went stiff when he heard that. He did that and saw it was his sensei, Kakashi Hatake, and he was not alone. Alongside with him were Asuma and Kurenai, senseis of Team 8 and 10. Naruto cursed to himself. Damn it, he really didn't want to come across them. They were one of the very few who didn't hate him. He expected from the Cyclops to either cuss him or outright just kill, but instead he said, Naruto, why? Kakashi had this concerned look in his eye as he held his hands forward. Why did you do this? Do you know the extent to what you have done? Naruto simply nodded yes. Yes, I know what I have done. Then why? Kakashi sounding more demanding. You know this can cost you your. Like I said, Kakashi-sensei, I know what I did. With what I have committed, I will be branded and hunted down as a rogue ninja. I will be viewed again by many of the village as a monster. Asuma bit his cigarette. Then why do it? Asked Lady Tsunade. This caught the senseis off guard. They never heard Naruto so formal speaking like that. Naruto continued, because I knew one thing. The actions I took extended the survival of the Hidden Leaf Village. I'm not letting those bastards destroy what the old man has been fighting for. Kakashi saw what Naruto meant by. It seems like he held a very strong conviction to the third Hokage. He knew that Naruto had a very close relation to Hiruzen Sarutobi. He even remembered how he brought young Naruto along to some parts of the village to enjoy, but he never expected Naruto to go this far. Was he just like Itachi? Willing to be branded like criminal for the love of the village? If they succeeded their plan, Naruto gritted as he remembered it. He clutched his fist. I could not let them do that. Several shinobi came around the corner and spotted them. There's Kakashi. He's trapped the demon brat. Naruto, please turn yourself in. You will only make things worse. Kurenai tried to convince the boy, who he knew was the crush her student had. I'm sorry. Naruto held a hand sign, but what's done it's done. Oh, Naruto said one last thing. Tell the members of the Shinobi Council, Hinata's Kiba's, Shikamaru's parents and the others I'm sorry. Didn't meant to get them involved. Smoke exploded around him as 2 chunin tried to stab him from above. They looked around. Where did he go? He can't be that far. A shadow clone. Kakashi murmured. Then a man in robes came down. He was a member of the ANBU. You got the kid? No, Kakashi answered. He just slipped away. Why? What's the problem? The ANBU agent turned to Kakashi. Because we lost track of him. Our trackers are already scanning the area around the village. Then another ANBU ninja joined a kneeling Kakashi. We've spotted your student fleeing towards the east. Outside the village, Naruto hid behind a tree. He took some deep breaths as he took a look, seeing if he was followed. Luckily he wasn't, and he wanted that for now. He was too exhausted to fight and too tired right now to run. Then 2 kunais flew out of the bushes and hit Naruto. Arg! Naruto shrieked in pain as he grabbed a hold on the one that was close to his shoulder. He turned to where it came from and saw that 2 more kunais were flying towards him. He pulled out the kunai in his shoulder and used it to block the 2 others. He failed to see the 3 shuriken that were thrown from the tree behind him. All 3 shuriken plunged into Naruto's back as the pain forced him to lean backwards and on his knee. Ugh, damn it. Naruto gasped for air as he took a look around and saw men in black robes but with plain white masks coming from the trees and bushes. We've got the 9 tails Jinchuriki. We can bring him to Lord Danzo. We're not finished, knock him out. One of them ordered. Hi! One of the robed men jumped towards him as he was ready to give the final blow. Bastards, Naruto growled as he reached for the other kunai, which was very close to his heart. The robed man came closer. Yawa! Ya! Kakashi stopped when he heard that. His eyes widened. Naruto. He sprinted faster. Naruto was breathing hard as he was holding onto a bloodied kunai as his open wounds were bleeding out lots of blood, but in front of him laid something that rather pissed off the surrounding ninja. The one robed ninja lay there dead, with a slash going through his mask, hitting the face. He laid there motionless. That brat is too dangerous. Go for his arms. Hi! Naruto looked around and saw that from all direction a dozen kunais came for him. He didn't react fast enough as they all hit their targets. Plung! 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 Naruto's arms were now no use as all his muscles were hit by the kunais. Some even hit his back as he now was forced to stand on his knees while blood was coming out of his mouth. Guess this is it, Naruto said as he saw the masked ninjas approach him. His vision was too blurry to see them come closer as he started to close his eyes, ready to pass on to the next world. What's that? Ah, yeah. Loud punching and screaming was heard and Naruto forced himself to open. Then a bright light forced Naruto to shield his eyes for a moment before he could look what it was, and when he saw it was, he was astonished. In front of him was a small girl with yellow blonde hair and large green eyes with no pupils. She was wearing a frilly, pink layered robe with a red ribbon tied in a bow around her neck. She was surrounded by golden lights. She smiled at him as she walked with her shoeless feet towards the young shinobi and reached out for him while saying, "You have a heart of gold. I've seen what you did and I want you to give a chance, a second chance of life, a second chance to have a family, a second chance to have a family, in a country far away from here." She extended her hand. "What do you say, Naruto?" He turned around. "That has to be Kakashi-sensei." He turned back. "What is this land?" She smiled Fiori. Naruto then asked one final question. "What is your name?" The kind smile she gave made Naruto calm. "Mavis Vermilion, first guild master of Fairy Tail." "Naruto." Naruto turned around again, seeing movement in the trees before turning back to Mavis. "When can we go?" She reached for his hand and smiled. "Right now." She giggled as the light began to shine so much that the whole area got absorbed into it. And flashback. Naruto remembered how he woke up, finding himself in a hospital in a country he didn't know. Soon enough the doctors explained that they found him in the streets with dozens of stab wounds and thought he was a dead man. He reached for his bag and went with his hand through it, pulling out his old headband and a pair of pictures. One of that was of his former class and the other was that of Team 7 with Sakura, Sasuke and Kakashi. "I wonder what they are doing now." Naruto spoke silently to himself as he looked through the window, seeing that it was night. Sometime he wondered if he would ever see his friends. Granny? Kakashi-sensei? Crash! Naruto stood up quickly. That sound came from outside. He looked through the window and saw someone unfortunately had dropped a vase from their balcony. But even that, he knew he had to keep his guard. After all, he is by definition a missing nin by now. Naruto went over to his window and looked over the rooftops of Magnolia before closing the curtains. When he closed those curtains, figures skipped the shadows away from the building. Let's begin this. It's been a couple of days since Naruto returned from his quest, and a new mage named Lucy joined Fairy Tail. But in overall it was a normal day in Magnolia's best-known guild hall as everyone began to have a meal or a drink, and having fun. Sometimes there was even a laugh thrown in when Wakaba, one of the members of the guild, tried, jokingly, to ask Mira-Jane on a date, on which she responded by transforming her head to that of Wakaba's head, whereon that he gave the normal funny respond. "I hate it when you do that, it's so creepy." Everyone in the guild laughed at that except for one table where Natsu, Happy and Lucy were sitting. While Happy was devouring his meal, which was just a fish, Natsu was mumbling on how he was broke. "I guess we should try to find another job," Natsu grumbled. Happy joined in, "We're running out of food money." Before going back to his meal, Lisana walked by and smiled. "If you can't afford to eat today, I can cook something for you guys. I won't charge you anything." "Nah, it's not that, Lisana." Natsu sighed. "Thank you, I really do, but we need more money to pay our rent." "That would be no problem if we took that 2 million jewels reward," Lucy reminded him while still slightly ticked off about it, but then reminds that she also had to pay her rent soon. "I guess I'd better find work too." She turned around and before she got to the quest board, she noticed someone walking in the guild. It was Naruto, wearing just a pair of boots, trousers and a t-shirt which didn't cover much of his body as his arms and parts of his shoulders were exposed. He still wore the bandana over his left eye and the mask over his mouth. He dried his arms up with his towel and said, "Mira, can I get the usual?" "I'm done training." Mira-Jane smiled and turned around. "Sure. Coming right up." Naruto went over to the table next to Natsu's and tapped the back of a man of average height with short, straight, slicked back dark blue hair. "Hey Mikao, how's it going?" "I'm doing good, kid." Mikao gestured. "Sit down here. I see you just finished your training?" He sat down and answered, "Yes, I did the usual. Around 4 hours done." Mikao noticed checking Naruto and chuckled. "I can see that your whole back is drenched in sweat." "It is?" Naruto turned his head to try and look. "Damn, I barely noticed that anymore." Wakaba waved his hand in front of his nose. "And that smell like you've been running a marathon." Some of the guys laughed just as Mira-Jane brought a bowl of ramen in front of Naruto and commented, "Well, I say good for Naruto. At least he uses his time productively." Kana smirked. "Yeah, unlike some of you." "Hey, thanks for the food, Mira," Naruto said as he began to eat it. Kana's cheeks were red from the alcohol and asked drunkenly, "So, Naruto, what are you planning to do today?" "I don't know, to be honest. I already paid my rent for the upcoming 3 months, so what about?" He saw that Kana grabbed out of nowhere a barrel of wine and started downing it until she couldn't drink anymore. Naruto sighs at the usual. Kana, smiling, "Never mind." 5 minutes later, Naruto just walked out of the restroom but noticed someone else except for Nab, the guild member who doesn't know what quest he wants to pick. The girl was wearing a white skirt, a pink ribbon in her hair, a red t-shirt and brown boots while carrying a whip around. He saw the girl scoping for a quest, finding a magic bracelet, lifting a spell from a cursed cane, fortune-telling, love, using astrology, exterminating the evil spirits in a volcano? I didn't know there was so much different kind of requests for mages. "Excuse me?" That voice made Lucy stiff for a moment before turning around to see Naruto standing in front of her. "Hello? I guess we didn't meet before. You must be the new one here. What's your name? Naruto asks, just as Mary Jane walks by. Lucy saw the began to turn red and stutter I am. Don't worry Lucy, he won't bite. Mary Jane tried to calm the blonde girl down and took it over Naruto. This is Lucy. She's the newest member of Fairy Tail, and the reason you haven't seen her much is that she's been going away on quests with Natsu and Happy. Lucy, you mean Lucy from Likey? Nope. Just Lucy. Lucy waved her hands around. It's me from the time you saved me from that gang. You remember that? Oh yeah? Now I remember. Naruto nodded his head and smiled, offered his hand to shake it. I smiling, nice to see you joined. Welcome to Fairy Tail. Lucy cheeks blushed. Yeah, nice to meet you. Mary Jane giggled at the interaction and began changing the conversation. Lucy, if you are interested in taking one of these requests, just let me know. The master is away for a conference, so I'm covering for him. Oh, so that's the reason why I haven't seen the old man. So it's that time again, Naruto said, knowing the routine occasion. What kind of conference? Lucy asked. One for guild masters. Every once in a while they all get together to talk about the state of things. It's a bit different from the council, though. The magic council. Naruto rolled his eyes while speaking those two words with venom, earning himself a question look from Lucy but a normal response from Mary Jane, who ignored it to put a finger on her chin, trying to figure out a better way to explain it better. She then got an idea in her head, asks a fellow guildmate. The obese read us for something. Read us, can you give me your light pen? Of course, here. Read us handed over his pen that had a glowing end to it. Thank you. Mary Jane thanked him before turning around and starting to draw a hierarchy of diagrams in the air and explaining it from top to bottom. The most important people in the magic world are the 10 members of the council, who have a connection with the government. They exist to maintain the order in the magic world. The council can also pass judgment on mages who commit crimes. Mary Jane then pointed at the middle of the diagram as Lucy focused, and beneath the council, there are the guild master leagues, where guild masters assemble. They relay the decisions of the council, smooth out the communication between the guilds in the area, and keep us in order. It's a difficult job, right? I didn't know that there were connections between guilds, Lucy said, astonished by the diagram and organization. It's important that we interact with each other, or else our structure would have fallen apart. Mary Jane added. Yeah, Naruto stared at the structural plan of the diagram. I personally find this a good plan. Communications between guild masters, corporation, multiple meetings to build trust. Pretty much a good system, well except for the council. Most of them are nothing but bureaucratic, thick-headed morons. Lucy's sweat dropped. Did this guy have some grudge against the Magic Council, or was this a universal thought in this guild? She already had heard it from Master Makarov, but now from him. Natsu appeared out of nowhere with an evil grin and his finger burning a small fire, spoke in a demonic tone, and then the guys in black show up. Lucy screamed, scared of her chest. Natsu laughed while holding the back of his head. Ha ha ha. That was almost too easy. Are you trying to scare me to death? Lucy shouted at him while holding her chest. But seriously, the guys Natsu is talking about do exist. Mary Jane said while drawing another diagram. These are the dark guilds. They have chosen not to join any of the leagues. They're the bad apples and most of them are involved in magical crime. Wow, Lucy was amazed but also slightly scared. Don't worry, they rarely pose a threat nowadays. Mostly because the actions of some of the guilds have been actively taking down some of these dark guilds. Even members of the Magic Council have been involved in rooting them out. Mary Jane said and mentioned, right, Naruto? Naruto smiled. Of course, Miri-chan. I don't follow. Oh yeah, you don't know. You see, Naruto is one of our mages who's active working with other guilds and fighting these dark guilds. Mary Jane told the celestial mage he gets quests from the Magic Council and he with mages from other guilds go and hunt down dark mages who pose a threat. Wow, Lucy turned to Naruto and asked, you've met with other guilds? Yes, of course. I've met some very powerful mages and a lot of them and many of them became good friends of mine after I proved myself, Naruto answered to her question. Mary Jane smiled. Naruto is known for defeating and capturing over 49 dark mages from 8 different dark guilds. This gave him the nickname the Shadow of Fairy Tail. Why the Shadow of Fairy Tail? Because Naruto's fighting skills are like that of a shinobi, Lee-sana said as she walked over to the counter with an empty tray. I'm not joking really. When Naruto and I went to do a recovering request, we got jumped by like 5 dark mages. He took them all down without even using his magic. He picked them all off one by one and paralyzed them, ending it for us getting a good pay when we brought them in. He did? Lucy's eyes widened as she turned to Naruto. You're really that strong? Naruto was flattered. I'm not saying I'm that. I just got lucky, that's all. Besides, they weren't that powerful, just some A-class morons. That ain't nothing. Lucy's mind though. Whatever, say, are you going to pick a job or not? Natsu asked Lucy. Lucy frowned. You've got to be kidding me. What makes you think I want to do that? Well, we are a team. Aren't we? Natsu mentioned. Happy then burst in saying yeah, and we picked the job last time. So it's now your turn to pick, so get to it. Just forget it, cat. As far I'm concerned, our team has been disbanded. Lucy crossed her arms and huffed, and besides, you guys didn't actually want me. You just needed me last time because I'm a blonde. Wait a moment, what do I hear here about needing a blonde? Naruto looked in between the two and turns with a frown to Natsu and Happy. Guys. Happy and Natsu shrieked out of fear and quickly said it was for a job. It was for a job. Naruto kept the frown and then asked, You guys make sure she got paid? No. The guy's book was that from his father who was tormented. Naruto sighed and turns around but couldn't be angry at his kindness. Okay, I let this slide for once. Hey Lucy, Gray got their attention. Sitting next to Kana, I wouldn't stay with those losers if I were you. You'll get plenty of offers from other teams. Kana just mentioned your clothes, Gray. Crap. Gray looked down. He was in his underwear again. Natsu just cussed him jerk. That comment made Gray glare at Natsu, and in a second, they were at it again. Natsu and Gray glaring at each other, butting heads, giving each other insults. Did you just call me a jerk, Dragon Boy? And what if I did? What are you going to do about it? Chick ahead. Least I'm not a coward. You spineless wimp. You're a freak. It looks like they're at it again. Happy said, munching on another fish. Those two. Naruto shook his head before turning towards Lucy, who now was listening to Loke's attempt to flirt with her. But then he took a few steps back after noticing something hanging on Lucy's hip. He then hopped back on his feet, and then when Happy mentioned one of her celestial spirits, and then ran away out of the building. Celestial spirits, oh boy. I hope she isn't the holder of that key. He knew Loke had his own run-ins with celestial wizards, and it wasn't good ones. He noticed Gray punch Natsu and that his body was about to hit Lucy. Wow, watch out. Naruto grabbed Lucy by the shoulders and pulled her slightly to him before Natsu's body could hit her. Lucy saw what happened and turned to her fellow blonde. Thanks. No problem, Naruto said before addressing the two guys. Really guys, can you both stop this for a moment? Just a moment? Natsu started it. I'm just following through, Gray argued. Your clothes, Gray, Kana said. Damn it. Natsu got back up. You're the one who was provoking me, you dirty slime ball. Gray's eyebrow twitched. Oh yeah, what did I do to provoke you? You fire clown. You pervert slasher. Pink-haired punk. Lame insults, guys. Lucy deadpanned. The rest of the guild started laughing at the two troublemakers going at each other yet again. Lucy couldn't help but smile, and Naruto smirked, giving an eye smile. We got bad news. Everyone turned towards the main entrance, seeing that Loke was already back and in distress. It's Urza, she's on her way here. Everyone except for a few began to freak out when that name was mentioned. Lucy was impressed by the sudden change of sphere. Wow, just mentioning her, and the whole place goes crazy. Well, she is the strongest female wizard we've got in Fairy Tail, Mary Jane said. Don't forget the fact she's a bit intimidating. Lisana mentioned the small fact. Yeah, to put that lightly, but that's Urza for you, Naruto added. Then they started to hear loud footsteps. It sounded like it was coming closer, and this got the guildmates to start sweat and shriek. That's got to be her. Those sounds like her footsteps. Even the air has gone completely still. Man, from these reactions you'd think she's some kind of demon. Lucy said, imagining Urza as some kind of demon and frightening her. I'm so scared. The person entered the guild hall and brought in a large object which was to be revealed as a horn that must have belonged to an animal that had been slain. It was put down next to the person carrying it with a loud thud. The person was a woman, or more precisely a 19-year-old girl that had a slender voluptuous figure. It may not be seen at first because of the custom-made armor breastplate that resembles of the medieval days. The armor was made by Heart Crews, the most popular clothing line for young girls and women. She also wore a blue skirt and black boots, and diamond-shaped silver earrings, but her most noticeable was her scarlet hair and brown eyes. This was Urza Scarlet, the strongest female wizard of Fairy Tail. I have returned. Where is Master Makarov? Urza sternly asked. She's beautiful. Lucy breathed with a mini tint of redness on her cheeks. Welcome back, Urza. The master is at a conference right now, Mary Jane said. I see. Urza complied as she puts a hand on her hip. Urza, what's that huge thing? One of the guildmates asked. It's the horn of the monster I defeated. The locals were so thankful that they decorated it and gave it to me as a souvenir. She looked at the guy. Why, you got a problem with it? No, not at all. You know, she's not anything that I had imagined, Lucy said. Lisana giggled. Well, it's not her looks that cause everyone here to be scared of her, you'll soon find out. But she's a caring person and someone fun to hang out with. Naruto patted Lucy's arm. So just relax. Oh, okay. Now listen up. Urza turned her head towards everyone, making them shiver. While I was on the road I heard a few things. Word is that Fairy Tail had been causing nothing but trouble as of late. Master Makarov may not care, but I certainly do. Here begins the road call, Naruto said. Kana, you need to start controlling your drinking. The brunette stopped drinking. Vegeta, take the dancing outside. Wakaba, get rid of the filthy habit of yours. Nab, I would suspect you still standing there in front of that board. Just pick a job already. She then turned to Macau. The man went stiff. Urza instead just sighed. Please just say something. Macau cried. I don't even know where to begin with you. She grabbed for her head and shook. Honestly, you guys cause so much trouble sometimes I've just given up. She's really tearing into everyone. Lucy nervously muttered. It's like she's taking over. Happy appeared. That's Urza for ya. Even if she's kinda bossy, she's saner than everyone else in here. I don't understand why everyone is so afraid of her. Naruto points to her right. Look out there. Are Natsu and Gray here? Lucy turned around to see something that surprised her. Hey there, Urza. We're just hanging around as good friends do. Gray and Natsu gave nervous smiles while crossing their arms over each other's back and shaking hands like really close friends. All that in fear, of course. Natsu replies. Ai. He's talking like Happy. Lucy exclaimed in shock. That's great. I'm quite pleased to see you two finally getting along. Urza smiled, nodded her head. However, it's only natural that even the best of friends squabble every now and then. I don't know if we're the best of friends. Gray replied. AI. Natsu added. What's gone into Natsu? Lucy now was too confused. 'Cause Natsu and Gray know better than to piss off Urza. A few years ago he challenged Urza to a fight and got beaten up badly. Naruto said to her. That's a stupid thing to do. Lucy said. After that she found Gray walking around naked and decided to beat him up too. Mikao added to the list of reasons to why people fear Urza. Kana, who for once is not drinking, decided to bring in another story, and let's not forget she also beat up Loke for trying to hit on her. He totally deserved it though. Lucy quipped on that one. Yeah, can't say I blame her. Naruto spoke. So Urza, from what I see, you normally come back here and relax, eating a strawberry cheesecake and forget about everything. But instead of that I can see you're planning something now, am I right? Urza turned to Naruto and gave him a smile and nod. You're right, Naruto, still as sharp as ever. She eyed Naruto, who eyed back, like I ever lost it. Dear Urza. Urza huffed it with a smug smile before turning towards the two. Natsu, Gray. I need you to do a favor. The two turned towards Urza and paid attention to what she wanted to say. While traveling I heard something that made me worried. Normally I would consult with the master on an issue like this, but he's not here and this is a matter of utmost urgency. I can use you both for this. The Dragon Slayer and the Ice Mage looked between each other while the whole guild couldn't believe what they were hearing. We'll meet at the train station tomorrow morning. Urza informed them and then turned to her blonde friend. And you, Naru, where is Naruto? Between Mira and Lucy, where Naruto was standing now, was empty. The only sound that everyone was hearing in the silence was the sound of clicking shoes. Everyone turned towards where it came from and saw that Naruto was on his way out. And I'll see you guys at the train station. Oh, and this. Naruto threw something backwards. Lee-Sana catches it, and it was a bundle filled with jewels. Thanks for the meal, girls. Naruto gave out a wave to everyone. See you guys in a few days. See ya. Most guildmates waved him goodbye. Mary Jane giggled. There he goes, preparing for another job. Wakaba smirked while puffing out smoke. That kid doesn't sit still, not even asked, and already prepares for the job. Lucy couldn't help but raise her eyebrow and asks Happy, why is everyone talking so good about Naruto? Happy replies in his usual manner, because everyone knows that's Naruto nature. He's always ready to help out a fellow guildmate. That's true. Nab says, catching Lucy's attention. You can ask anyone in this guild. Naruto has helped people no matter what their problem is. Just like how he comforted Mikao's son when he was missing. That is Naruto. Mikao smiled. He had to properly thank him for calming his son down and giving him hope. Sure, he did not rescue him, but he did give his son the comfort he needed. Kana chuckled. That's Naruto for you. She took a sip from her jug of beer, while a blush was lightened on her cheeks. Whatever it is, the big thing is that with Natsu, Gray and Urza joining up as a team, that would be the most powerful team. But with Naruto joining in it, the most powerful team this guild might have. Happy flew up high and exclaimed, hooray for Naruto. Hooray! Outside the guild hall, Naruto heard the cheering from his fellow guildmates. He couldn't stop smiling and gave it a thought. Glad I was brought here. Next day, Magnolia Station. Can you explain me why have we decided to come here 3 hours earlier? Lucy groaned out loud. While everyone has already arrived, Naruto was the only who hasn't arrived yet. She was holding her snowman celestial spirit, who kept shaking. Happy was munching on his fish snack and explained, have you forgotten already? He has a habit in getting late and coming up with an excuse. Are all of you blondes this dumb? Lucy was ticked off. Don't start that, cat. Natsu and Gray still played the friendly buddies part, while Urza sighed. Waiting for Naruto wasn't new for her, as she got used to it like most of the guild who worked with him. Happy flew up with the fish in his mouth, pointing at the hallway. There he is. Naruto was wearing his brown trousers, boots, a green flat jacket, a brown coat he was wearing over his jacket, and his bag for his travels. Hello guys, sorry for the waiting. I couldn't leave the place without enjoying a warm cup of ramen. Lucy frowns. Why am I thinking you're lying? Because he is, silly. Haven't I told you it just a minute ago? Happy reminded her. Lucy fumed at the cat. Urza smiled. Not a problem, Naruto. You're just in time. Naruto, I smiled. Great, let's go. Wait. What about the baggage? Lucy said, pointing at the mountain of baggage that belonged to Urza. Allow me. Naruto stepped forwards and pulled out of his coat a scroll and opened it before laying it down, and then pulls up his sleeve. Lucy watched what was written on the scroll. What language is that? I don't know, we asked the same thing. He just says it's a contract. Natsu Gray. Urza Happy replied while observing Naruto's work. Lucy asked out of curiosity, what kind of contract? He bit his nail and started signing the middle part of the contract. Lucy was creeped out. Why did he sign it with his own blood? I don't know, he does this all the time. Natsu Gray. Urza Happy replied. You guys should listen to yourself. Lucy's sweat dropped. He started making a series of signs with his hands before slamming his hand into the middle part of the contract. Poof! The area around Naruto was filled with smoke. Cough cough, what was that? Lucy waved the smoke off, and when it cleared she was gasping like a fish. Where is all the baggage? The only thing left was the cart that transported it. In here. Naruto showed the scroll that was small and tossed it to Urza, who catches it. Thanks, Naruto. But, Naruto waved his hand. I'll explain it after Urza explained the job we're about to do. He turned to the two others and? You guys have anything to say? Yes, Urza. Natsu got her attention. I'll come with you, but only under one condition. Gray immediately responded, shut up. Oh? What is it? Natsu held his fist up with a grin. I want a rematch when we get back to Fairy Tail. What's wrong with you? You've got some kind of death wish? Gray said behind Natsu. Natsu ignored the others. I'd become a lot stronger since the last time. This time will be way different. 'Cause I'm gonna beat you. Naruto smiled at Natsu's determination. He reminded a lot of himself. Full with spirit, and never giving up. Urza was silent for a moment before giving her response. Yes, I can tell you've been improved. As to well, if you can beat me. I suppose we have to see. She faces up. I accept your challenge. Oh yeah. Natsu yells into the sky. I'm fired up. Everybody started to enter the train as it was set to leave with almost everyone in it. Naruto was the last to board the train but then sensed something. He looked around and saw nobody was there. He still sensed something nearby and decided to reach for something in his coat. Hey Naruto! Happy landed on his head. Come on, we've found a seat. Naruto stopped reaching for his coat and said okay, let's go. He boarded the train as it started leaving the train station. In the steam of the train that just left, a figure stepped out of the steam. It was a masked man with armor plates covering his body from top to bottom, and he had a tattoo that was noticeable on his arm, the mark of the Hidden Leaf Village. The train was making its way through the vast landscape as it was going to its next stop. With on it, members of the Fairy Tail Guild that was on a quest. But currently in one of the cabins, they had different issues to worry about, like the fact that Natsu's motion sickness was kicking in and he laid back like he was going to puke. I swear Natsu, you are totally pathetic. 1 minute you're picking a fight and then you end up like this, Gray commented while looking out the window. How could that the Dragon Slayer challenge one of the most powerful wizards of their mage but not stand at riding a train? Of course, this was coming from the mage who would get off his clothes in a blink of an eye without anyone else, or even his own knowledge. In the cabin sat Lucy and Urza on the other side, while next to Natsu sat the fish-eating Happy, who was sitting between the Ice Mage and the Dragon Slayer. Lucy was a bit sympathetic but minded it's got to be tough getting from place to place. Don't worry, he'll be fine, Urza said as she offered a solution. Come here and sit next to me. Natsu weakly replies I guess she wants me to move, Lucy thought. Natsu sat next to Urza as she patted him on the head. Just relax, okay? Crack. Natsu went K.O. after Urza gave him a hard punch to his stomach to knock him out conscious, so he landed his head on her lap. There, that should make the trip a little easier on him, Urza said like it was nothing serious after throwing a punch to the fire eater, while the others' sweat dropped. Especially Lucy, who thought, okay, maybe she's not as sane as I thought she was. Gray then turns from the window to the armor-wearing wizard. Hey Urza, I think it is time you started filling us in. I mean, what kind of a mission are we going on here? Wait. Lucy interrupted. Shouldn't we wait for Naruto? Happy pointed out of the window. Look. She looked out of the window and saw something flying close by. It was a hawk with a letter attached to its claw. It flew next to the window before going upwards. What was that? That was a messenger hawk. Happy said with his belly full. Geez, are all of you blondes so dense? Watch your mouth, cat. Bathroom. The bathroom, where multiple stalls and toilets were, was now empty except for one guy. Naruto had turned on the tap and started to wash his hands. He just was finished doing his business in the toilet. Then in front of him, a hawk landed and cried against him. He then noticed that there was something attached to its paw. A message. Oh, thanks, little man. Naruto took the paper and started reading it. The hawk laughed through the open window. Dear Naruto, as you may guess, this is not our usual way of communicating, but because this is an urgent problem that needs to be dealt with, the Magic Council has decided that with your experience as a former combatant, you are chosen as the suitable person to accomplish this pressing matter. I can already guess what kind of job this is. As you may know, the former legal guild Eisenwald has been stripped of its legitimacy, after several investigations including for accepting assassination quests have ended, resulting into the order of disbanding the guild all at once. It seemed like even after the guild was disbanded and the guild leader was arrested, our sources have found out a plot by remaining members of the guild have started to plot an attack. The leader of the rogue mages that are suspecting of plotting is none other than the death god, Erigor. The bathroom door behind him opened slowly. The person who entered was the white-wearing mask in the station. Now wearing still his cloak, he closed the door behind him and locked it. Because Erigor is a highly dangerous individual, the council believe it's unlikely he's going to be able to rehabilitate and reintegrate into society, not after killing indiscriminately innocent people. So the Magic Council has debated about the subject of Erigor, and we've decided that it's for the best that Erigor has to deal with. That's why we send you now, the order to defeat Erigor the Death God. It is for the greater better that Erigor won't pose a threat in the future. Destroy this message after reading it. We hope you remember the agreement you made to the council. The leader of the Magic Council, Grand Oma. Naruto crushed the message in his hand furiously. Screw that old man and that damned deal. The ANBU operative slowly was sneaking to Naruto and pulled out a kunai. Naruto shredded the letter into several pieces before throwing it into the water, destroying it as it was asked. That is done. The ANBU took one last step before raising his kunai. I wonder when you would show up, Naruto said. The ANBU agent was surprised that he was spotted, but this turned out to be his biggest mistake. Let's get this over with. Naruto pulled out a kunai from under his sleeve and tried to lay a hit on the masked agent who in response blocked it. Clang! Onaba Station. Well, we're here. Gray said, exiting the train as last. You think the Eisenwald guys are still going to be in this town? I have no idea. That's what we're here to find out. Urza replies as she was carrying the scroll filled with her baggage. I must say, I need Naruto how to teach me that technique. Where is Naruto? Lucy said before realizing something else. As a matter of fact, where is Natsu? Still on the train. Happy said while waving off the departing train. And there it goes. Lucy dropped her luggage and stared with her mouth open at the train, while Urza started blaming herself in an exaggerating way, and Gray, while not taking his clothes off, he did bring up something. That's strange. Gray puts his hand beneath his chin. Natsu, of course, didn't get out of the train because he's an idiot, but I don't see a reason why Naruto stayed behind. With Naruto was leaning his back against the sink where he earlier was washing his hand. He was holding on to the mask of the ANBU agent he had defeated. He stared at the mask. I wish we would have met in a different situation. The blonde ex-shinobi turns to where the ANBU agent was. He was laying on the ground, against the wall with his hands tied up from behind to the urinary. You know, this isn't the first time I've been tracked down by the ANBU Black Ops. The masked agent didn't respond. Probably because Naruto KO'd him. It was a man in his 20s, he was just a regular leaf shinobi. Naruto didn't know. He walked up to the man, and placed the mask back on him, and patted his head. Hopefully the hit I gave you in the back of your head will cause your memory loss because you're going straight back home, Naruto said to the unconscious agent, while taking a few steps backward. Naruto felt something drip off his head and felt it was the blood dripping off his head. He did get a cut from the guy, but nothing serious. He used his thumb to whip a little bit, and went through a series of hand signs. Summoning jutsu. Poof! A small puff of smoke, and there in front of him stood a small toad who had red skin and stripes and yellowish eyes. This was one of the gourd toads who had a shell on his mouth used for sealing. Hey little man, I need this man to be brought to Konoha. Tell Pervy Sage that it's me, alright? The toad only nodded in compliance. Good. Because this dude got me missing my stop. Naruto went over to the door, and before leaving thanks. Also, Naruto pulls out a small piece of paper and handed it over to the toad. Can you deliver this to Mary Jane? The bartender with the white hair? The toad nodded again. He opened the door, and went back to pick up his stuff. The gourd toad began to ready up for transporting the unconscious ninja. With Natsu on the train, a man with a pineapple-looking hair and a white-colored suit was walking through the wagons and saw something interesting. A sick mage with pink hair and the most notable mark on his arm. The Fairy Tale Guild mark. Well, look at here, it's a fairy tale wizard. The person leaned his arm against one of the seats and asked a question in a friendly way. How's the guild treating you these days? Is it worth sticking around? What? Natsu received a kick in the face by the person. Don't act all high and mighty because you're in a legal guild, Mr. Fairy. The guy smeared. You guys just blindly follow the magic council. Do you know what we think of you? Harmless little flies. Excuse me? The guy turned around and received a punch in the face, and was sent flying to the other side of the wagon. The guy rubbed his head and looked who hit him. It was Naruto standing there with his arms crossed and facing him. You must be Naruto Uzumaki, another fairy bug. And you must be Kageyama, you're a member of Eisenwald. Kageyama smirked as he stood back up. Yes, I am. May I know why you know my name? I know of you because you resemble a friend of mine. Had a ponytail just like you and almost the same face. The thing is you are different of him is your personality. Oh yeah? Kageyama smiled. What's so different? While he's most of the time a lazy, sleeping and saying everything was a drag, he was a smart guy. What are you trying to say? Well, you are complete the opposite. You're reckless, picks fights and full of energy. But before Naruto could end his sentence he had to jump, avoiding the shadows that were going to hit him. Naruto landed a few feet back and saw the shadow surrounding him. Guess I hit a nerve. But that's for another time. Where's Erigor? Why should I tell you? Because he's wanted by the Magic Council, that's why. Let's see about that, you miserable fairy. Kageyama said before focusing the shadows around his fist, and running up towards him, while yelling Shadow Fist. Naruto grabbed for his kunai, and infused his chakra in it, and said fool. Natsu meanwhile was just watching while also trying to not puke. Boom! The people at the previous station heard the explosion and saw that one of the wagons was damaged. Among them were the Fairy Tale Guildmates. What was that? Lucy questioned. That is where Natsu is. It couldn't be him because the train is moving, Gray commented. It must be Naruto. Whatever it is, we need to move. Urza clearly stated as she saw a magic mobile and smirked. I got an idea. I got a bad feeling about this, Lucy said, slightly shaken. Happy flew up. Let's go. In the train, Kageyama was on the ground, covered in some bruises as he just was knocked back by Naruto who was still standing. Damn it, lucky shot. He groaned slightly and felt that something was missing out of his chest. Crap. Where is it? A strange-looking flute, a skull and 3 eyes rolled up to Naruto's feet as he picked it up. Naruto recognized it in a second. That's... Damn it, he saw it. Kageyama cursed to himself as he grabbed something from his pocket. Hope this works. Here, catch. Naruto looked up and saw something rolling towards his feet. It was an explosive tag that was on fire. He then saw the shadow user getting out of the wagon. What? Outside, in a ridiculous amount of speed, Erza managed to catch on the train. She was driving the magic mobile while one of her arms was attached to the mobile. Since the mobile is running on magic energy, Erza now was tapping off. All the while, Gray was stuck on the roof while Lucy and Happy were in the back seat. Lucy began yelling Natsu. Naruto! Then Naruto jumped out of the window with Natsu following him just as an explosion went off. Naruto, behind you! Naruto saw the mobile and landed on the roof on his feet, getting a compliment from Gray. Nice landing, Gray said before he noticed Natsu was going straight at him. Boink! The mobile stopped and Naruto jumped off the roof, watching as the train kept going. Erza stepped out and asked Naruto, "Are you alright?" "Yeah, I'm fine." "But how come he had an explosive tag?" "Who are you talking about?" Lucy questioned next as Gray and Natsu were at it again, bickering at each other. "That hurt, you jerk." "Shut up, you icy freak." "Shut up, both of you." Erza shouted at them and forcing them both again to shake hands nervously before turning to Naruto. "Naruto, what happened?" "Kageyama, a member of Eisenwald. He was on the train. We fought on the train and I was beating him." "Eisenwald?" Erza interest spiked. "Are you sure?" He pretty much admitted it, but that's not the case. He had the lullaby flute with him. The expression of Erza was enough to understand what it was, so she ordered everyone back on the mobile. Naruto got on top of the roof together with Gray while Natsu, Lucy, and Happy got in the back seat. Erza tapped her arm back to the mobile and they drove off forwards. Konogi Station. A panicking crowd began fleeing after a man wielding a scythe just slashed one of the train conductors in front of them. The man was an extremely tall, lean-built and muscular man. He had blue visible tattoos on his body and silver hair with a colored skirt, with his feet wearing sandals. This was Death God Erigor, member of Eisenwald. "This train belongs to Eisenwald now," Erigor ordered while his men were throwing everything off the train, even the passengers. "Get everything off the train, luggage, conductor, all of it. If anyone tries to defy us, to kill them all." Kageyama then exited the wagon and spotted Erigor. "Well, look who's here." Erigor turned around. "Kageyama, I heard you were coming back aboard this train. It's quite a wreckage. Care to explain what happened?" "Come on, aren't you interested what I brought back with me?" The shadow magic user pulls out the lullaby flute. "I finally managed to break the seal." "Oh yeah? Finally we got it. Excellent." Erigor chuckled as he grabbed the flute and turns to the others. "This is it, men. The forbidden lullaby. Originally this was a tool to cast simple death curses. Useful but limited. That is until the great dark wizard Zerif transformed it into a demon flute. Now its song will kill hundreds, no thousands of people who listen to it. And it's all mine." The mobile was racing through the fields while all the occupants weren't used to such speed. Naruto was standing still on the roof while Erza was too focused on the road. "Naruto, are you sure Erigor is in on this?" Erza asked out loud. "There's no one else in that guild that is willing to do that," Naruto replied back to Erza after the Magic Council had disbanded Eisenwald for its illegal activities. "Erigor was the only one standing after their master has been arrested. He's more likely to lead this. Then we must take them down quickly." Erza said, "We cannot allow them to use that magic. Just slow down, will ya?" Gray yelled, "You're using too much of your magic to drive this thing. Just keep on driving, Erza." Naruto yells, "If you feel a little strong, I'll tap in for ya." "Alright," Erza said before exclaiming, "Let's go." Back at the Fairy Tale Guild. "I tell you once, Lisana. Don't try and hook me up with one of these morons," a drunken Kana said while holding another bottle of alcohol, and was leaning against the table where she sat alone. As a matter of fact, the only ones left in the guild hall were Lisana, Kana, and Mira, who stood behind the counter as everyone else was either home or on a quest. The eldest Strauss sister listened to their conversation. Lisana was cleaning up the table where Kana was sitting at. "I'm just saying, Kana, you and Gray look like you belong to each other." "Ah, hell no. I mean, I like Gray as a friend, but I don't want to see that perv as my boyfriend. Give me someone like Naruto." She smiled while drinking her bottle. A blush appeared on her cheeks as she was predictably drunk, but it was of something else. This sparked the interest of both Strauss sisters, but Lisana was the quickest to ask, "Oh, has our card player a crush on our Naruto?" Kana took the bottle off her mouth and sighed out of satisfaction. "And what if I have? Am I in your way?" The brunette made a smirk while pointing at the youngest Strauss sister. "You are having an eye on him too, haven't you?" Lisana was taken aback by this. What? You heard me. I saw you looking at him like he was a piece of meat. I wonder what Natsu would think of you having a crush on his older brother figure." "Oh please, Natsu and I are just friends and you know it," Lisana said, turning around and bringing the plate filled with empty jugs to the counter. "Oh, and I know after Naruto saved you, your eyes haven't been able to turn away from him," Kana said with a smile. This made Lisana put down the plate hard and almost knocking over the jugs as she turned around and made a glare before she pouted. Mary Jane couldn't help but chuckle at this exchange, and this caused the other two to turn to her. "And you," Kana pointed now at the eldest Strauss girl, "don't laugh because are just as bad as us." "Me?" Mira held her hand in front of her chest. "Yeah, ever since you met Naruto, you guys were mean to him like some bully." Kana started memorizing, and then after that Naruto saved all of you guys. You changed and became nicer to everyone, especially Naruto. That doesn't mean anything. Oh, and when you showed Naruto those pictures of that modeling gig of yours? Just admit it, Mira, Naruto trusts you and you trust Naruto to almost a couple degree. That is simply not true. Poof! A small puff of smoke appeared on the counter, making the girls wave it off, and saw it was a small red toad. It waved around a paper and handed it over to Mary Jane, who said thank you. Poof! The toad disappeared, leaving the three girls surprised at what just happened. I say, it keeps surprising me the magic Naruto uses, Kana said, under the belief all of this was magic because Naruto said so, only if they knew. Mary Jane opened up the message and began to read it. Mira, this is Naruto. I need you to contact Master Makarov. Eisenwald's death god, Erigor, is on the move with remnants of the guild, planning something. Be quick. But I just sent a message to Master Makarov just an hour ago, Mary Jane complained and then sighed. Well, if it is that important. What the heck? With Naruto and the others. Naruto was still on the roof of the vehicle as some dried up blood on the side of his head was being noticed by Gray. Hey Naruto, you're bleeding. Lucy and Happy's heads popped out of the window after hearing it. Erza was listening in on this. It's nothing, just a bruise I got from that Eisenwald guy. Naruto waved it off. He half lied since he didn't want the others to know he had a fight in the bathroom. Are you sure? Gray asked while looking closely at looks. Believe me, Gray, if it's bad I would warn you guys. Now just focus on the upcoming battle, okay? Right, Gray replied with a grin. It's been a while since he had a serious fight. Erza smirked, knowing that Naruto was right. There were more pressing matters. The others just sat down back into their seats. Naruto was now being focused on the task he was given, taking out Erigor. Erigor slashed his scythe into the seat where Kageyama was sitting after hearing what happened on the train. Kageyama barely got off the seat and looked at Erigor stunned. Let me get this straight. You allow a fairy tale fly to see the lullaby flute and let him get away. And that fairy tale wizard had to be Naruto Uzumaki. Is that true? Yeah, but, and not only that, you said that he's out for me. Is that correct? Erigor asked, clearly pissed at his subordinate's failure. Yes. Erigor slammed his scythe between the wooden planks that laid between Kageyama's legs. We cannot afford to take any chances, especially not with Uzumaki on our tail. Fortunately, we have a strategy. Kageyama smirked. You mean about that next station? Erigor nodded yes. He turns to the others. It's possible that Uzumaki has some fellow of his flies with him, so take care of them in any given chance. All right? Yes, sir. And for Uzumaki, Erigor made an evil smile. I'll handle him. I always wanted to fight that kid. Sir? This could be interesting, Erigor smirked. Although while everyone was focused on him, they didn't notice something on the flute. Like the fact, it was glowing a purple light in its eyes, all three of them. Kanugi Station. Parked near a cliff, the fairy tale mages saw what damage was already left by the Eisenwald dark mages. By the looks of it, most of the wagons including one damaged were left on the rails, while the station was filled with the train's passengers that were left stranded and were denied entrance into the station by the Fiori military that had arrived. I don't get it. I can understand stealing a car or a boat, but why would you hijack a train? Lucy wondered while looking through the window with Happy. It doesn't make sense if they wanted a good getaway since they could only follow the tracks. Yes, that's true, but they are quite fast. Erza agreed. Lucy then brought up, then why did Naruto go down there if we just have to follow the tracks? This time Gray in his shorts explained, because it's better to know what we're heading into instead of walking towards a trap. Naruto knows some in the military, so it should be quick. Gray, your clothes. Gray looked down, huh? Then a shadow jumped up and was in the sky for a moment. Happy knew who it was. Naruto is back. He can jump that high. Lucy gawked in surprise as Naruto lands in front of the mobile. And? Erza asked, what did you find out? It's confirmed, Eisenwald was here and they hijacked the train. A big number of them also, possible around 50 or so. But that's not the biggest discovery. What? I heard that the train has stopped. It's not moving. Erza demanded. Where? Ashibana Station. The military is about to make a move. They got the whole area surrounded. Then get in. Erza ordered as she tapped the magic back into the mobile. We got to get there. Quick. Naruto quickly hopped on the roof and warned his passengers beneath him, hold on to something. What are you talking about? Lucy fell back into her seat as the mobile was speeding through the valley as fast as it could. Clover. In this small peaceful town a conference was being held for guild masters all over the Fiori Kingdom. Sure, not all guild masters were present, but a large amount of them did come here to have a good time. Well, one tried but now was twitching on the table and not moving for a good hour. Who was it? It was Master Makarov, and what made him do this? He just found out 3 of Fairy Tale's most destructive mages became a team, and went on a mission. Ah, Makarov muttered. Geez Makey, you look like you just saw a ghost. Don't be silly, it isn't that bad, said a fellow guild master named Bob. Bob was a bald elderly man who was wearing an interesting line of clothing. He is seen wearing a purple spaghetti strap shirt accessorized by a gold and fuchsia hoop necklace, and a vertical striped pink and purple shorts. And to finish it, he also wore red lipstick and blush on each cheek and had actual wings that could help him fly. And to add the fact, yes, Bob is a man. Makarov jumped back up and steam came out of his ears. Can't you see what I'm dealing with here? Natsu, Gray and Erza are 3 wrecking balls who cause more damage than anyone else in the guild. Yeah, I guess you're right. Another guild master said, seeing what Makarov meant by. His name is Goldmine, guild master of Quattro Cerberus. He's a slim man of average height and has a mildly squared face with wrinkles that were noticeable on his forehead, the sides of his mouth and below his eyes. He also wearing dark sunglasses and wearing a simply plain t-shirt and a pair of pants. He also wore a very recognizable hat that resembles that of witches in fantasy stories. Makarov sighed, putting his hands on his head to ease the headache he had. Oh, how am I going to deal with this? Then a letter dropped out of the air and landed on Makarov's head. He looked up and saw the small bird flying out of the window, not even saying anything. He took the letter off his head and saw that it was from Mira again, but this time in writing. He opened the envelope and took out the letter. Reading it, his expression changed from pain to seriousness. So that is why. Excuse me, Marky, Bob excused as he was curious what is in there. Makarov looked up and sighs, that damn council. I knew this day would come. Do you remember Erigor? From Eisenwald? Goldmine nods. Yeah, I know about him. That guild is banned now for a year now for accepting assassination missions. Why? Because I believe that's the mission those brats are at right now. Makarov said to them, looking down. The letter here says that they are chasing down members of Eisenwald and Naruto suspects that they are planning something. Naruto, you say? Then it must be serious. Goldmine said, holding his chin. Naruboy is in on it? Oh boy, Bob grabbed his face and giggled. That boy is something. Makarov was in deep thought. Someone like Erigor isn't someone to be messed with, due him not being afraid of shedding blood. There's only one reason why Naruto would ask Mary Jane to warn me about it. Makarov took a deep breath and pinched the side of the letter slightly. Of course, the Magic Council. Hey Makarov. Goldmine asked his old friend, you alright? I'm fine, but I just got a reason to hate the old bats of the council even more. The mobile Urza was driving was going fast while taking quick turns, causing bystanders to react fast before they could get hit. Naruto was still on the rooftop with Gray holding next to him, while Lucy and Happy were sitting in the back passenger seat, and Natsu was still lying on the ground with his motion sickness kicking in. Urza, you should slow down. You're going to run out of magic before we even get there. Gray yelled to her as he was clinching on the roof. There's no saying how many innocent people could die if Lullaby's song is played. I can't stop. We have to stop Eisenwald before it's too late, Urza argued as she was focused on the road. She was right. With a crook like Erigor, you couldn't imagine what he would do. But at this rate, Gray started but felt a hand on his shoulder and turned to Naruto. Urza's right. We can't afford to lose any more time, Gray. Naruto said without turning away from the road. He killed once, so he won't hesitate next time. Gray remembered what Naruto said was right and stopped speaking. While from the window, Lucy saw them talking and saw that Naruto's way of talking was rather odd. Happy blinked his eyes and started to ponder. I feel like there's something you need to know, Lucy. Oh, what is it? I don't remember, Happy said, causing Lucy to sweat drop. From up the roof, Naruto could see a big cloud of smoke reaching the sky and saw it was coming from the big building in the middle of town. What's that up ahead? That's trouble for sure, Naruto said, focused on the smoke. Ashibana Station. Outside the station, a large crowd that surrounded the entrance of the station, and between the station and the crowd stood workers of the train station, trying to keep the order of things. Like the military already entered the building to clear out the rogue mages. Please stand back, the conductor pleaded as he spoke through a megaphone. The station is closed. Naruto and Urza were the first to walk up front with the others following them. One of the conductors spotted them walking up towards Naruto. Hey sir, you have to go back in line. You too, lady. The man didn't get to finish his sentence as he was headbutted by Urza, knocking him out instantly. Urza, that wasn't. Let me handle it, Naruto, Urza said before turning to the conductor's colleague. What's going on? Huh? Urza headbutted him too before he could answer her question, making Lucy's sweat drop after seeing this. Looks like her questioning methods are a little counterproductive, she said, embarrassed, while she carried the motion-sick Natsu on her back. Gray nods. Urza has her own way getting things done. Where are your clothes? Urza finished knocking out every conductor and finally got what she wanted. The Eisenwald guild is inside. Let's move in. Right, Gray smirked, eager for a fight. So I got to drag this one around? Lucy motioned to Natsu, who was still out of action. That's no problem. Urza thought of an idea and turned to the male blonde. Naruto? Ugh, fine. Naruto groaned as he made an hand sign and muttered something before a puff of smoke appeared next to him, revealing the other Naruto standing next to him. There, Urza smiled, settled. Lucy gawked. You can duplicate yourself. Happy said this is one of Naruto's trademark abilities. You should see him fight. We'll see that later. Clone, carry Natsu. He's got motion sickness again. The clone nodded and took it over from Lucy and held him on his back, making it possible for her to stretch her back. Thanks, Lucy said to Naruto with a smile. Naruto chuckles and replies, you're welcome. Let's go, Urza ordered as they all entered the building. Inside the station, running as fast as they could, the fairy tale mages quickly moved through the hallways as they listened to the information Urza had obtained from the conductors. A small army unit stormed in earlier, but they had yet to return. I'm guessing they'd been caught in a battle with the Eisenwald forces, just as I suspected, Naruto said in as the others head him out. The soldiers at Konogi informed me that they got troops at every station. We need to defeat them now before they move again. Then they saw up the stairs what happened. The small army unit was lying there, barely breathing. They were wiped out and left beaten. Stepping towards one and checking his pulse for any vitals, they all seem unconscious. Some of them carried some deep stab wounds, almost lethal but still enough to torment the soldiers. I'm glad to see you admiring my work, Uzumaki, Naruto looked up and saw Erigor sitting on top of one of the train wagons with in front of him over a dozen Eisenwald members staring down on them. "We've been waiting for you." "Fairy tale flies," Erigor stated. The Eisenwald members let their chuckles and smirks being heard to the vastly outnumbered fairy tale wizards. "Wow, there's so many of them," Lucy said, shacking, standing up on his feet, and said to the obvious leader Erigor, "Death god of Eisenwald. Is this your doing?" Erigor only chuckled in response. That was enough of an answer to Naruto that it was him. He then looked towards the Eisenwald members and recognized one of them. "I thought you would be here. Tell me, what's your name?" "It's Kageyama, you fly," Kageyama said with a hint of disrespect, "and it's your fault Erigor got mad at me." "What do you want me to do, dude? Pat you on the back?" "You're part of a criminal conspiracy now committing numerous crimes," Naruto said, walking up towards the middle of the area. "Hey Naruto, you stole a forbidden artifact, hijacked a train filled with passengers, assaulted civilians and military personnel." Erigor only could smile like they were accomplishments. "So?" Erza stepped in front of Naruto. Her hair began to flare up by her magic. "What do you intend to use Lullaby for?" "Oh, you haven't heard yet." Erigor smiles as he floated up in the air like a feather, and hinted, "What do all train stations have?" He flew. "It's wind magic." "So he's a wind magic user," Naruto thought as he stared at him flying over to a large pole with 4 speakers on it. "You plan to broadcast the Lullaby song?" Erza yelled out, earning some concerned looks from the other fairy tale members, except for Naruto, who only narrowed his eyes at the idea. What were they hoping to accomplish by doing this? Erigor laughed before explaining his intentions. "Thousands of noisy onlookers are flocked to this station to get a glimpse of the action. Who knows, if I raise the volume enough I may be able to extinguish the entire city with my melody of death." "What reason do you have to commit such a heinous crime against the innocent people of this town?" Erza angrily demanded. "This is a cleansing of all the fools out there who fail to appreciate the rights they hold so dear, who remain willfully ignorant to the plea of those who had theirs ripped away. They've committed a sin by turning a blind eye to the world's injustice. Therefore, the Reaper has come to punish them." What nonsense was this man saying? "But killing them isn't going to help you get your right back, it's only going to make it worse. That's the whole reason why you're kicked out of the Wizard League in the first place. At this point, we've given up trying to regain our rights." Erigor did not look convinced over his own flawed plan and says, "We want power. Then we'll be able to wash away the sins of the past and take control what happens in the future." "You're all completely insane," Lucy yelled at what she heard. "We're rolling in a new age of darkness," Kageyama proclaimed as he puts his hand on the ground and made a slew smile against Lucy, saying directly to her course, "By the time that's settled, you flies will be long gone." 3 shadows stretch out of Kageyama's own shadow and were going for Lucy. They jumped off the ground and formed into hands. Then before they could hit Lucy, a big wave of fire struck Kageyama's attack down like it was nothing. Kageyama recognized the guy. "You were the other fly on the train." Natsu turns his head to him and smirked. "Eisenwald guy. I knew I remembered that voice." Lucy was happy. "Natsu, you finally woke up." Natsu saw a whole lot of Eisenwald members in front of him and remarked, "Oh wow, looks like we've got ourselves a party here." Natsu, this isn't a party. This is a fight." Natsu bumped his fist as I said, "It's a party." The fairy tale flies flew right into my trap. Everything is going exactly as planned, but I will not rest until they have heard Lullaby's melody of death. Then we finally have revenge against those who wronged us." Erigor thought while evilly smiling down at the small group, but mostly at Naruto, who did no impressed him and thought he was just another fly. But boy was this psycho wrong. "I'm done with this," Naruto said before he imploded with a puff of smoke, leaving an empty spot. Also, the other clone disappeared. "What the? He's gone." Lucy just looks around. "Guys, where is Naruto?" Happy just replies, "Just watch." All the Eisenwald looked around. Erigor stood up and scans the room around. "Where is this fly?" A figure jumps from the ceiling towards Erigor with a sharp object in its hands. "Erigor, look out!" Clank! The scythe of Erigor stopped the kunai of Naruto that laid the first attack on him in midair. They both landed on the ground in the middle of the station between both guilds. The clinching of the kunai against the scythe was a shrieking sound of the kunai grinding against the side of Erigor's blade. "Let's end this bull," Naruto says, being irritated by their plan because you got yourself some flaws in your plan. Erigor's smile just grew wider. "Oh? Enlighten me." "Simple. Got any earplugs?" The sneers and smiles faded away in a second when he asked that question. While on the other side, the dragon slayer Natsu just laughed his ass off at their reactions. Lucy dumbly pointed. "Did he just foil their plan?" Happy stated. Gray nodded. "Yup, he did." Erza just shook her head. "I should have known." The smile of Erigor the Reaper turned passive, and he started to make his next move. "I've always wanted to fight against you, Uzumaki. Let's see what you're capable of." Erigor challenged as he went for him. "My pleasure." Naruto smiled as he sprinted for him. He couldn't turn down a challenge. They both flew backward and started going for blow, after blow after blow. The sound of clashing blades and speediness of both fighters got their guildmates to stand shocked and awed. "I can't believe it, he's fast. He's obviously not some pushover fly. Don't give him too much credit, he's still a fly." Lucy was amazed by the speed of Naruto's quick attacks. "Wow, he's so fast I cannot even see him." Then one of the figures managed to overwhelm the other, and they both crashed through the first floor wall behind the fairy tale members. Urza took no time and ordered Natsu, Gray. Go up and help Naruto in any way you can. But, now, Both mages quickly went ahead inside the station, following Erigor and Naruto. They're going after Erigor. I've got this. One of the Eisenwald members named Romeo said, wearing a noticeable tight hood covered in black and light stripes. He leaped on a ledge with vines shooting from his fingers. Kageyama, need some backup. I'm coming. That pink-haired bastard got some hell to pay, Kageyama said before disappearing into the shadows. Urza turns back to the rest of Eisenwald and addresses Lucy. We'll help Naruto out after we're done with this. Us against all of them? Lucy said worriedly. The Eisenwald members didn't seem bothered by fighting two girls and were being cocky about it while giving hideous remarks. My mama always told me not to hit girls, but I can make an exception. I'm sorry ladies, but you're not going to be cute anymore when we're done with ya. There are around half a dozen of them and only 3 of us, counting Happy, and let's see what you got, Lucy. Urza only smirked while stretching her arm forward while channeling her magic into her hand. Let's do this. She summons a sword that appeared in front of her, as she grabs for it. It came out of thin air. She took a firm hold to it, and gave a standing threat to the rogue mages in front of her. If you insult the Fairy Tale Guild again in my presence, I swear none of you will live to see tomorrow. Screw that, charge. One idiotic man said as a group of Eisenwald members went for a frontal attack against Urza. Oh, how dumb they were. On the first floor, they've crashed through several walls and they had ended up in a storage room somewhere in the station. Naruto and Erigor jumped right over it and tried to lay a hit on each other, resulting in just each other's blade connecting again. Naruto landed backward and saw that his kunai wasn't gonna hold it for long, so he puts it back and thought on what he should do now against the floating wind mage. Come on, Uzumaki. Erigor smiles while wielding his scythe around until he points it at him. Make your next move. Naruto stood back up and breathes heavily under his mask, needing to find another way to lay a hit on Erigor since fighting him head-on wasn't going to work unless he wanted to destroy the building. Naruto then suddenly felt a burning pain through his head. TSK. He grabs for his head, must have been the hit he got from the NBU agent from earlier. Erigor smiled at this chance, and jumps right at him ready to cut him in half. Bad move, pal. Just then when Erigor was about to attack, he himself stopped and moaned in pain. He got kicked and was bleeding slightly in the arm by one of Naruto's cuts. Hurts, doesn't it? Naruto pulls out another kunai, and reaches for something in his pocket. Another one of those knives? Got nothing else to fight? Erigor arrogantly spouted before sprinting over to Naruto, ready this time not only to kill him but to decapitate him. A small ignition sparked in Naruto's free hand near the kunai. Nope, I'm just going easy on you. Gray and Natsu were running through the hallway while trying to find Naruto and assist him in taking down Erigor. I can't believe she's making us work together. What was she thinking? It's obvious she wasn't thinking. Everyone knows fire and ice don't mix. Yeah, why does she always have to be so freaking bossy? She should ask us to do stuff instead of ordering us around. Then they both stopped and for no reason yelled against each other. Why do you come along with me? Naruto only needs one guy to back him up. Boom! The building began to shake heavily that some of the trash cans that stood next to them began to wiggle until one of them falls sideways. Natsu looked around. What was that? That must be Naruto. Gray figured out. Guess he doesn't need our help dealing with Erigor. Whatever, I'm still going to find Naruto. No way in hell I'll let something happen to my friends. I agree, Gray agreed as he looked up and saw that there the hallway ended into 2 ways. Let's split up. Another explosion occurred and this time some tiles from the ceiling started to drop. Natsu and Gray turned towards each other and nodded. Let's get to it. They both departed in different hallways and started to look for Naruto. The room was filled with smoke and rubble. The many damages Naruto and Erigor had inflicted during their fight had made one of the train station's room into something unrecognizable. Unfortunately, with all the damage that had been done, Erigor was nowhere in the room, leaving Naruto alone standing with a cut in the flak jacket he wore that also traced some blood of his. Bastard got a lucky strike. Naruto grunted while looking around. Just hopefully that last blow will stay with him. Naruto then focused some chakra into his hand and uses his sensor ability, which he had learned through the years with his summoning. Feeling the energy of everyone in and outside the station, he sensed a big crowd of most likely the citizens of this town wondering what was going on. Then there were the dozens of bodies of military men who were heavily injured but were brought to safety by the conductors. Then there were the more pressing matters. Come on, let me see. Gray was not that far away from where he was from and he's currently in a one-on-one fight against one of the Eisenwald guys. Natsu was running through the hallways trying to find him while not noticing he was being followed by one of the Eisenwald guys from a distance. Happy and the new girl Lucy was also running through the hallways but were most likely trying to catch the chubby Eisenwald member that was fleeing. And Urza was outside the station, doing her way to evacuate the whole city. With luck, he didn't need to be worried about his guildmates. While the Eisenwald guild now had no problems indeed in killing people, they won't even be able to lay a strong hit on Natsu or Gray due them being more stronger than they are. Let's stand try and challenge Urza, who's basically indestructible to their level. Happy and Lucy would be fine due to their own situation. But this wasn't his biggest concern. Right now he needed to know, where is Erigor? He then opened his eyes and felt a huge magical source surrounding the station with it coming from outside the station. Now I understand. Naruto wipes off a little bit of blood off his wound with his thumb and started doing a series of hand signs. Your plan is pretty much predictable, Erigor. I should have known this wasn't your main target. He raises his hand in the air and was about to do another summoning. Better warn the other summoning jutsu. Poof! Outside the station, people were beginning to worry what was going on in there. From what they witnessed that several groups of people entered the station, got it closed off, and now explosions occurred within the station, causing some concerns to the local population who were asking what was happening. What's going on? Those explosions don't give me confidence. Who are those mages who entered the building before the military? Were they backing them up? Hey look, someone's up there. Upon the balcony, Urza stood there with a megaphone and starts addressing the crowd that had assembled in front. If you value your life, you'll leave this station at once. This station is overrun by dark wizards. They're planning to use a deadly spell to kill everyone here. This straightforward explaining by Urza got the crowd turns nervous. So I beg you, run as far as you can. Just then pandemonium erupted and all the civilians began to flee away from the station, and from the town itself. Hey lady, why would you make anyone panic like that? Urza turned to the conductors. I would rather that than see all these people die. You should escape as well, it's too dangerous for you all to stay here. The conductors listened to Urza told them, and nodded just before they left the train station, leaving Urza alone on the balcony now that I've cleared everyone from the train station. I wonder what Erigor's next move is. Just then Urza felt a strong wind from behind and turned around to see something that surprised her. The train station was surrounded by some strong wind that had the building surrounded. A wind barrier? Urza asked herself just when Erigor appeared from behind. Moments later, walking down the hallway, Lucy and Happy were looking for the fat guy. This is just stupid, that guy is nowhere to be found. We should head back to Urza. What? Happy scarily screamed, you want to defy an order from Urza? We can't find him, so what? Lucy asked like it wasn't such a problem. Urza isn't someone you ignore orders from. She's very scary when someone doesn't follow orders and can be persuasive in a painful way, Happy said, remembering the way Natsu and Gray were given a punishment after they were caught fighting. Lucy started to rethink that and nervously said, you know what? Let's continue searching. She then turns to the front and stopped out of shock. In front of her was the other half of the hallway, completely trashed, with cuts to the wall and cracks and potholes everywhere, and also some burning patterns on the ground. What the? Happy recognized this handiwork. Looks like Naruto and Erigor fought here. Are you sure? By the burn patterns I would assume Natsu was here. What idea gives you that? Happy points out in the middle because there. Lucy stares down to where Happy was pointing at and saw that in the middle of the rubble, something was hopping towards them. It was a toad? It wasn't just a normal toad. Its skin was predominantly red in color with blue markings around his eyes and on the top of his head. He also wore a pair of green goggles for some reason. Happy greeted it. Hey Kosuka. Hey Happy, how's it going? The toad named Kosuka greeted back cheerfully to Happy. It can talk? Lucy was creeped out. Did Naruto give you a message? Happy asked, ignoring Lucy's rude comment. Kosuka nodded and pulls out of nowhere a small scroll. He says you guys should be reading this, it's important. Happy accepted the scroll and nods. Wait, why did Naruto give you the scroll? Isn't he here? Lucy asked. Lucy didn't get a response as Kosuka puffed away, leaving the two alone. HMMP. Lucy puts her arms under her chest. That was rude. Well, you called him it. Happy flapped her wings up and flew by. Lucy, I'm not calling you a bimbo, obviously. I'm going to bring this to Urza. Yeah, hey. Lucy turned to Fly Cat to cuss him, but he was just flying away. Wait, you cat. Gray just was finished fighting one of the Eisenwald guys and was walking down the hallway with the new information he manages to beat out of the guy. Better warn Urza about this, he said to himself as he started running towards the assembling area. Meanwhile, the Eisenwald guy was left frozen in a frozen state. Back in the station, Urza had tied up all the beaten-up Eisenwald members from earlier and was interrogating one of the members that weren't out cold. Just forget it, lady, there's no who can dispel Erigor's wind barrier, the guy said in pain. Urza sure did do some damage on the guy. With no luck, Urza sighs in defeat after failing to extract some information out of the guy. Urza. She recognized that voice and turns up and saw Gray standing there. What are you doing here? I thought you were with Natsu. We decided to split up, but never mind that. Listen up, I just find out Eisenwald's real target isn't the station but Clover, the next town up. What? Erigor is heading towards the conference as we speak. He's planning to use the Lullaby to kill the guild masters. Urza turned to the Eisenwald member and demanded, why didn't you tell me? The guy turned pale. Guys. Urza and Gray turned around and saw Lucy running towards them with Happy flying next to her. What is this? Urza turned angrily to the celestial mage. I thought I told you to find that guy. Lucy froze out of fear but said, BB, but we came across Naruto's messaging toad Kosuka. Happy says in Lucy's place while waving around a scroll, he left us something. He gave Urza the scroll here. She opens it up and reads it with the others. Urza, I managed to find out what Erigor's plan is. I figure out you will know it too. If you're reading this, then you already know I'm going after Erigor before he reaches Clover. So sorry if I left you guys in that wind barrier. Naruto. Gray was reading it also and said, so he already figured it out. I wonder how he got out of the wind barrier in the first place. Lucy asked a question to Happy. Is he capable of dispelling magical spells? Not that I know of. Happy said, shaking his head. That's not the priority right now, Urza interjected. We must find a way out of this wind barrier and regroup with Naruto. she said, grabbing her arm. The drainage of her magic really put her out of action for a while. Then she remembered something. Wait a minute, that man Kageyama. If he managed to undo the seal on Lullaby, then he should be able to do something with this barrier outside. Then he must be a dispeller, a seal-breaking wizard. Gray said he can break down the wind barrier. But where is he? Then the ceiling began to shake heavily again. That must be Natsu. Happy guessed. Then maybe he's fighting him right now. Erza said. He said he wanted to fight Natsu. Then let's go before that idiot does something stupid, Gray said as they all started running for the staircases, leaving the Eisenwald members alone, with one of them appearing from the wall, as the coward takes order to do a cowardly task. Clover Canyon. The ravines that surrounded the vast valley had a miles-long train tracks that were the road between Ashibana and Clover. Standing on it was Erigor with a smirk, as he was closer to his goal. I'm so close to Clover and the guild masters that I can taste it. And once more, the magic energy I used creating that wind barrier is almost fully recharged. Now it's time. Erigor smiled fully with confidence as he flew back up and looked down the tracks that lead to Clover. You fools not only took away our work, but you robbed us of our rights. And now I'm going to make you pay. Then from the mist underneath the tracks, several objects sprung out and flew towards Erigor. It was kunais with paper bombs attached to it. They exploded in front of him and behind him, forcing the wind mage to land back on the tracks. He looked around and saw the smoke covered a person's appearance. You think you can hide from me? Erigor said to the figure before running towards him and slashes at the person, only to be at nothing but smoke. What? He turns around and saw another figure. I got you now! Erigor yells as he went over to the other side and slashes his scythe again, only to be at nothing again. What? He looks around, still surrounded by black smoke and many figures. He tries it again, and again, again. He stops and then yells out, whoever it is, come out now! Shink! Erigor gasps, his pupils turned down, seeing a kunai knife pointed directly under his throat. The smoke started to clear out, with the boots of someone standing behind Erigor. It was clear he was tricked into the position the person wanted him to. The smoke fully cleared, revealing that the person was Naruto. Standing behind Erigor with a kunai pointed at his neck and in a position where Erigor couldn't move. Naruto then answered to his question, I'm here now, Erigor, here to stop you. Chapter 5. With Natsu and the others. What? You say Naruto took off and went after Erigor without us? Natsu yelled out as he heard what Erza and Gray said to him. They now stood close to the wind barrier with them Kageyama, who lays on the ground, unconscious and bandaged up after getting a beating by Natsu. When Erza and the others caught up on them, Erza swung her sword at the defeated Kageyama and demanded him to dispel the wind barrier. But before he could even respond, something unexpected happened. A hand appeared through Kageyama's body, within the hand a bloody knife that caused Kageyama to bleed out of his mouth almost and collapse to the ground. The person who did it was a fellow Eisenwald member, a friend. In response, Natsu was the first one to react. He clenched his two fists and lit them on fire. He looked at the assailant with pure anger, knocking him out through the wall. Now they were outside, still stuck inside the wind barrier with time ticking. They had to figure out how to get out of it. Idiot Gray shook his head before explaining it to him again. Naruto figured their real target is the Guild Master Conference in Clover. That's why he has the Lullaby. He wants to us it to kill them all. Then we have to stop him. Natsu exclaimed, not wanting to waste any more time here. Erza sighed while checking Kageyama's wounds. That's easier said than done. Erigor cut off our only mean to reaching Clover and is headed there by air. I'm pretty sure we'll be able to catch up on him with the magic mobile. But we can't do anything until we've managed to get to the other side of that barrier. Gray pointed out the biggest obstacle they were facing. Lucy thought for a moment before asking, you think Naruto can handle that guy by himself? Of course he can, don't doubt him, Lucy. Natsu said while staring at the barrier. There's no way he'll lose to a jerk like Erigor. How do you know? Because he's not someone who let anything happen to Gramps. Natsu said, thinking back, not after everything he had done for him. Lucy was curious to know why. With Naruto on the train tracks, Naruto still had his kunai pointed at Erigor's throat. Now he had cornered the rogue wizard. He could easily just disable him and bring him to jail. Erigor was calm, like really calm. Normally a person who got into a situation like this where he got trapped in an illusion trap with the end result being forced a knife to your throat, you would either be angered, surprised or even scared, but not Erigor, for some reason. He then calmly spoke, so it's true. Naruto raises his eyebrow. You fight differently. You don't just fight head-on like the rest of the fairy tale flies. You use precision to find the weaknesses of your targets and exploit them. You used stealth so I couldn't even hear your footsteps even through the thick cloud of smoke. Not forget to note, unlike those flies, you use self-control so you could have gained the opportunity to get me into a position you wanted me in. Naruto kept himself quiet. Erigor continued to talk. Those set of skills aren't usually being found in wizards who are in guilds unless they've had done time in the military. By the Fiori army doesn't teach that. What are you trying to say? Naruto asked while holding the kunai up to his chin so he would speak up. Speech up. Erigor laughed out before speaking. I'm trying to say that I know who you are, Naruto Uzumaki. Rogue ninja from the village hidden in the leaves, wanted for multiple murders, an attempted coup and treason, now with a price on his head. Dead or alive. Naruto didn't show it or budge it, but he began to wonder how this guy guessed it. I will say, it's an honor to meet a ninja who came from the other side of the world with such an interesting background, giving it that there's little to no contact between the wizard continent and the shinobi continent. Most of the younger generation now believes it are myths or are too stupid to not believing it. Such a rocking place, isn't it? Wars, violence, purges. I even heard it's normal for children to join the ranks, even some have killed before they even reach their teens. Oh, I wish I could have go live there, I would fit right in there. Pretty much you would have been buried alive, prick. Naruto kept his mouth shut while listening to this guy's nonsense. But it's hard to get there, isn't it? Erigor questioned not one kingdom of Earth and has ever made contact with that continent and basically refused any trade or interacting with such an environment of violence and killings. Let's stand that it takes months of sailing to one of the ports, and a risky journey with the sea between those two worlds being filled with monsters and ships that have fallen into the demise of the cursed and treachery weather. Naruto forced the man down on his knees and answered him, What? What do you want to know? Erigor chuckles while looking up. How come you managed to get to Fiori without going through that journey on the dangerous seas? Naruto kept staring at the rogue mage and couldn't help but start thinking about the day he got in Fiori and meet the people he would see as his family. Flashback 3 years ago. Night, Magnolia. Walking through the dark alleyways, the Naruto tries to stay on his legs while trying to find the guild that the woman said he needed to go to. Fairy tale. He loses his balance and almost trips over some planks and now standing on one foot and his knee, still holding on to the bleeding shoulder. His already bad eyesight was started to go from bad to worse as it was a clear sign of losing too much blood. Got to find Guild Hall, Naruto said as he walks off the alley and starts walking through the calm streets. It was clear that the population was mostly either in their homes or at a nightstand that Naruto was avoiding. Then he finally saw with his one good eye what he was looking for. He saw an abnormally high building that stood taller than any other with a remarkable flag flying above it. It was the Fairy Tale Guild Hall. He starts stumbling towards the building while leaving a trail of blood behind him at such an alarming rate that it looked like he was indefinably wasn't going to make it. Almost there. Naruto was holding his hand onto his bleeding shoulder. He saw that despite it was late, there was still light coming from the building. Naruto was on the verge of passing out, so he used all the energy he still had left to walk to the doors of the building and opened it up. He stumbled through the doors and saw that the guild hall for most part was empty. Maybe it was closing time. Then he saw at the counter 2 men bickering at each other. The one behind the counter looked like to be a middle-aged man with dark blue hair with some facial hair and was wearing from his perspective some pants, a t-shirt and a white coat. Then sitting at the counter was a small but elderly man in orange hoodie, blue and orange striped jester hat. Ah, come on. The elderly man waved his mug around. Give me another one, Macau. No master, I'm not pouring you another beer. A irritated Macau said, cleaning an empty glass. Go home. A stumbling footstep was heard and it then stopped. Makarov groaned. It was possible one of his children, and he turned around and yelled, Guild Hall is closed, come back tomorrow. He opened his eyes and widened in shock. The sound of a shattering mug on the ground got the guy behind the counters his attention. He turned around. Damn it, master, can you know? His words chocked in his mouth. Now he saw what was at the entrance of the Guild Hall. A blond young man looked terribly wounded, with his upper clothes damaged, his exposed skin covered in bruises and stab wounds, his hair soaked in blood, and he looked like he could barely stand on his own legs. Makarov wondered what happened to this kid. He looked down and saw that the ground around his boots were leaving a trail of his own blood. What did this kid go through? Makarov hops off from his seat and slowly walks up to the kid. Boy, what happened to you? The young man didn't respond and just kept breathing in and out. Macau walked around the counter. Oh my, help me. Makarov didn't hear that clearly. What did you say, young child? The blond young man then turned his head up to look Makarov and looked with his one eye straight in his eye. The look in the boy's eye said it enough for the old guild master. Please, Naruto said before collapsing to the ground. Boy. Makarov quickly went by his side and turned him over and started checking his vitals. Macau went by his side and, he's got a weak pulse, he must have lost a lot of blood. Makarov looks up and said, go and wake up poor Yusuka. Tell her it's an emergency. I'll bring this boy to the hospital. Wake up. Poor Yusuka? Damn it, brat. There's a child bleeding out here. Go now. Right. Macau said as he stood up and ran out of the building, trying to get help as soon as possible. Naruto began to tremble and was coughing some blood out. There, take it easy, boy. Help is on the way. Makarov started cleaning the boy's mouth with some napkins, but then noticed under the hair that covered the forehead was something made out of metal. He brushed it aside and saw it was a headband with carved on it a symbol that was scratched through. This headband, he must be a shinobi, but he's still a kid. He looked down to the kid as he was barely conscious. Naruto had trouble breathing and was showing signs of tearing up and looked very distrusted. Makarov started to calm him down. There, boy, there. Can you tell me what your name is? And then Naruto, how did you came here? Were you with anyone else? Woman brought me here. Blonde woman told me to come here. Grunt. Makarov asked why. Before Naruto could answer to that question, eyes started to shut down slowly. Just as the sound of doors opening up was heard, the old man say, get this young to the hospital, quickly. And flashback. Naruto's visible eye was showing nothing but emptiness at that point, thinking back that day. That was the real story he got to fairy tale, at least, when he was brought in. Not much information about him was asked as Makarov made sure he was taken care of without many questions. It was Gramps who granted him his second chance. Are you going to answer my question or what, bug? Erigor asked, growling. Naruto looked back and made a frown at him. How about it's none of your business? And what about you tell me how you know all this information about me? He directly pushes the kunai against Erigor's throat that caused his throat to cut slightly, and release some blood, but the killer laughed like I'm going to tell you. Just forget it. Who knows? Naruto demanded as he became more aggressive. Who knows? Ha! Erigor laughed hysterically before answering. Only those who were able to obtain that information. Don't you worry, those who know have no interest of leaking it out to everyone, they instead like to fight you themselves. It's not every day you get a chance to fight a real shinobi who got his hands dirty before. And I'm one of them. Just then Erigor somehow managed to create a small powerful dust of wind between him and Naruto, forcing them to split apart. Erigor turned around and grabs a tight hold on his side and started generating the wind below him to lift himself up into the air and take some distance between him and Naruto. He stretches his arm and aims his hand at Naruto's position. Now I'm going to end you, stupid fly, Stormbringer. A tornado generated and was coming straight for where Naruto stood. It hit the target, and it left damage the train tracks. Erigor smirks at it. Let's see how you deal with that. Okay, allow me. Huh! Naruto came from above, and before Erigor could react, he received a kick to the face that sent him flying towards the tracks below him at such a fast pace. It created an hole by the landing. Naruto landed back on the ground and waited for Erigor to come back up. Erigor indeed stood back up from the hole and grunts slightly from the kick. Guess I underestimated you, but that won't hold me back from getting my revenge. I'll never let you do anything to the old man. Naruto disappeared in a blink of an eye before reappearing above Erigor with a couple of shurikens in his hands. Not while I'm around. He threw them all at once. Storm wall. Erigor yells as he created a shield that stopped all the shurikens to hit him, but suddenly an explosion occurred that went off just in front of him, causing him to jump back a few nudges. Erigor flew out of there with luck, let stand a few flukes of fire that landed on his clothing. He was for the most part, but he did gain some bruises from the explosion and it got him madder than ever. You wanna play like that? Okay, I got something for you. Naruto stood there while gesturing his hand. Come on and get me, prick. Erigor grew angry and tilted his scythe and started spinning it around, while also making an X pattern. He manipulated the wind around him until it created some kind of wind barrier around him that looked like a type of armor that covered him. I'll force you to your grave, fly. Then when I'm done with you, I'll let you be joined by your friends and that old man. Erigor exclaimed. No, Erigor, no you won't. Naruto summoned a clone and reaches his hand out backwards, so his clone was forming some kind of energy that was forming some of sphere in his hand. Don't be hopeful. Whatever you're planning, it won't work because my wind will crush you. Erigor yelled as he was preparing one of his trump card attacks and boosted it up before going at direct speed towards Naruto's position. Naruto clone dispelled and left in his hand laid was his own trump card. Storm Mail. Naruto jumps upwards with his hand reaching forwards. Rasengan, with the others, now racing down the tracks. Urza was still driving the mobile as fast and careful she could. Natsu and Happy were flying above them while Gray, Lucy and Kageyama were in the back seat. They earlier got into a bump and resulted in Lucy's but going up in Kageyama's face, on which he insulted. Now the celestial mage asked concerned, do you think Naruto's going to be fine? Before Gray could answer her that question, the ground began to rumble hard that it caused them to hop off their seats temporarily. What was that? Look! Major dust cloud over there on 12 o'clock. Happy said out loud. Everyone inside the back took a peek out of their window, and saw a major dust cloud was in the air just not that far away. While Kageyama couldn't let those be trapped in his mouth, he never saw someone push Erigor being pushed this far. That must be Naruto. Urza stated as she was certain it was him and turns to Happy carrying Natsu. Natsu, get over there and help him out if you can. Right. Let's go, Happy. Aye, sir. Happy responded as Natsu boosted Happy's flight with his feet burning up like turbos and going towards the cloud site. Urza stared at the cloud dust and knew that only one attack Naruto would have used that could cause an explosion this big and hoped. Naruto, just wait. In the dust that was clearing, all the tracks that were placed were now gone. The wind power of both men was simply too strong for it to resist. As it cleared, Naruto was seen standing in the middle of a small crater that lay just near the end of the track where someone could fall off into the canyon, with his flak jacket now covered in dried up blood and his mask being down for most parts so it was easy to see his mouth. He did not show. Right in front of him stood a smiling Erigor who was holding his side just behind Naruto's back, and was ready to stab him. So this is the power of the shinobi. Erigor's smile started to open up and blood started spilling out of his mouth. I'm impressed. Naruto had managed to smash the Rasengan into Erigor's chest, meaning he dealt the final blow against the Eisenwald member. Naruto still kept his neutral expression and said, normally those who get the full power of the Rasengan against their bodies, they don't stand against it. Erigor stood a step back away from Naruto, leaving Naruto hand in the open, showing that the spot where Naruto had smashed the Rasengan and had left a big bruise which possible was the only giveaway to the internal damage he had given. The scythe dropped to the ground just as Erigor dropped to his knees soon after his weapon fell. It was officially given that Naruto had beaten the Eisenwald wizard as the Lullaby flute fell off the guy's belt as a sign of defeat. Erigor, the Reaper of Eisenwald, was defeated. Naruto now stood above the body of Erigor. He was still alive, and he started to talk to his unconscious body. Guess that's that. You must know, the Magic Council wants me to end people like you, those who enjoy killing, terrorizing, pillaging and all of that. And that old goat who sends me the message to dispose you, believes I could end your life because that was my previous profession. Naruto pulls out a sealing scroll and dips his finger into his wound and used it to draw a line of blood over the writings of in it. He started doing multiple hand signs, but to hell with them. I'm not going to kill you. Instead I'll see that you'll rot in prison for the rest of your miserable life. He finished his series of hand signs and then planted his hand on the scroll, and in response a cloudy dust erupted. Coming up in such speed, a flying Happy carrying Natsu saw the cloud dust and saw Erigor's scythe. There. That must be Naruto. Go down, Happy. AI. Happy complied as they started flying downwards to the smoke. Naruto walked out of the smoke and puts the scroll back into his pocket just as something crashed in front of him. And clearly tired Happy laid sweating out of exhaustion on the twitching body of Natsu, that face planted hard on the tracks. Naruto then looks up and saw that the mobile was driving up towards them. Erza was seen waving at him. Now Erza was being helped climbing off from the driver's seat by Lucy. She turns to Naruto and smiles. Nice work, Naruto. But where's Erigor? Naruto points back. Look over there. There lied an unconscious and beaten up Erigor, in ropes and down on the ground, surrounded by Gray and Natsu, who was poking his foot against his head. Stop it, Natsu. Gray told him to stop. What? Just checking out if he's still alive. Of course he would be, Firebrain. Why else would Naruto keep him tied up? Who you call Firebrain? Ice pervert. Who are you calling an ice pervert? Erza had a thick mark on her head and ordered, would you two idiots knock it off? Gray and Natsu quickly became friendly with each other. From watching in the background next to the mobile stood and bandaged up Kageyama, who couldn't believe what was in front of him. I can't believe it. That guy beat Erigor? But he never loses. The young men then looked down to see something lying on the ground. It was the Lullaby flute. Just up for the grab. Lucy was a little bit concerned by the cut. Wow, Naruto had those wounds. Huh? These? Naruto looked down to the wounds and waved it off. Don't worry about it. It doesn't hurt much. Erza chuckles and says to him, well done, Naruto. Thanks to you all the guild masters will be safe now. Yeah, good work, Naruto. Happy threw a thumb up while standing on Erigor's head. Naruto chuckles at the cat. Thank Happy. Showing his smile as his face mask was lowered, revealing his bottom half, his face, and the noticeable scare that lead up from his covered eye. Lucy couldn't help but ask Erza in the ear, does Naruto always cover his bottom half of his face? Erza was kinda taken back by the whisper and replies back with a smirk, why? You fancy him? Immediately Lucy blushed. What? No. I'm just asking. Erza chuckles, that's a question I'm asking myself a long time. A loud roar of an engine was heard, and before anyone realizes it, the mobile rocketed over them with shadows coming out of it. One of it grabs for the flute and jacks it off the ground. In the driver's seat sat Kageyama, who grinned insanely. Kageyama, what do you think you're doing? Lullaby's mine now. Shouldn't left your guard down, flies. Kageyama yelled as he drove off with the mobile and the flute in full speed towards Clover. Everyone was left shocked, but then they felt a strong presence jump right past them. Naruto started jumping from rock to rock. He turns back and yells, I'll try and stop him. You guys just make sure you'll get to Clover, he says as he goes as fast as he could towards Clover. After him, night had fallen. Naruto finally reached Clover. He just got out of the conference hall and found out Master Makarov had left the building to take a walk. He was currently scouting the area, looking for the master. Come on, where are you, Gramps? He jumped on a branch and just accidentally looked to his right, and with luck he saw Kageyama standing there with the flute in his mouth ready to play. Standing in front of him stood was Master Makarov. Crap! He stopped on a branch and makes his way to stop the Eisenwald member. He just had to do it. One melody, and he had ended the life of the fairy tale guild Master Makarov in a sound beat. But for some reason Kageyama couldn't finish what he had started. He started hearing all the things he heard the fairy tale flies speak earlier. Killing innocent people isn't going to help getting your rights back. You should try look for the positive, you and your buddies. Kage. We really need your help right now. He's a member of your guild. He trusted you and you tried to kill him. The guilt started eating him, and it forced him to distance his lips from the flute. Makarov raised his eyebrow but notices something from afar, hopping from tree branch to tree branch. That must be Naruto. He already figured out who this kid was and recognized the flute. I can do this, I only need to do one song and that will change everything. Kageyama's mind spoke. Makarov closes his eyes as he turns around and finally addresses to the young wizard, nothing is going to change. Kageyama was taken out of surprise. Did this guy just read his mind? You cannot change the fact that for those who are weak will forever remain weak. Now maybe it's just me, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, we humans are weak creatures by nature. Naruto stopped just on a nearby branch above Kageyama and started listening to his master giving one of his many sermons. With not that far away the rest listening in on it. Our insecurities are the reason why guilds exists. Makarov turns his head around and why we have friends. For a moment Naruto would have thought it was also meant for him because Makarov spotted him. When we're surrounded by allies, it's easy to stay positive about the future. Think of it this way. If we're clumsy we may stumble and bump into things. But as long as we have faith in our future, we continue marching forward. Our inner strength emerges on its own, but we have to choose our path and pledge to our live to the fullest. So don't let that silly flute get in the way, Makarov suggested to the young man in a humble way of asking. Kageyama was too stunned after hearing that speech and couldn't find the courage anymore to continue the carnage they'd planned for. Instead, he started to rethink his decisions. Just drop the flute, man. The shadow user turned his head around and saw Naruto standing behind him. The old man just destroyed your whole plot by just opening your eyes. Do not go further that path anymore and just drop the flute. Then Kageyama finally dropped the flute and sunk on his knees and bowed to Makarov. I surrender. Makarov nods at the young man's words and turned to Naruto, who nodded back to him. Master. Both turned to the other side, seeing that the others had arrived. You stopped it. Good work, Gramps. Naruto smiled as he saw Erza grab Makarov and hugged him tightly until they all happily answered Makarov's question and got the good feeling of a job well done. Naruto turns to Natsu's best friend. Hey Happy, where's Erigor? Oh, we left him at Clover Station. The army was waiting there, so we handed him over to them. Before Naruto could reply to the cat, he felt a dark energy pop up out of nowhere. He couldn't explain it, but it was a very powerful and growing presence that was too close by. He could sense it from somewhere towards his right. It was the Lullaby flute that began to glow with that dark energy. A evil laugh came from the object as its eyes were glowing. I've grown tired of you worthless wizards and your antics. From out of nowhere, a giant circle appeared in the air, giving in the same dark energy. Then a giant monster appeared made out of wood, and it was enormous, so big that it was taller than the mountains that surrounded Clover. It had 3 scary empty eye sockets that resembled the flute and looked like some kind of version of a skeleton of some sort. It spoke, I shall feast upon your pitiful souls. Lucy shrieked, it's huge. Obviously. Happy replies, what is that thing? Kageyama asked. The most terrified Erigor never said anything about a monster. It must be a demon from the Book of Zerif. All the guild masters who were inside the conference hall started running away before the beast could have crushed the building with them inside of it. Just a few miles away from Clover, the Fiori military was astonished by the sight of the creature. They first got all the courage they could get and started an assault towards the monster, but when it destroyed a series of mountains nearby the military, they turned tail and retreated. Pitiful humans, I prefer the taste of a wizard's soul. The monster roared as it was looking for a challenge. Erza saw that the monster was directly eyeing them, so she took the quick initiative. Gray, Natsu, get everyone to safety. Naruto, you and I. She turns to where he stood and saw the spot was empty. Where's Naruto? Gray looks around. I don't know. Look. And Guildmaster points out there's someone standing right in front of it. All the fairy tale members turned towards where the man was pointing. Naruto was just standing there, on the ground close to the monster. Lucy was panicking. What is he doing? That monster is going to smash him. Natsu, Gray, with me. Erza ordered before she got stopped by Makarov. Master? Makarov just stood there staring. Wait for Naruto to call for help. Right now, let him be. Kageyama widened his eyes hearing him. Are you nuts, old man? There's no way he can beat that. He'll need something of the same size to beat it. Erza took a moment before nodding. All right, we'll wait. What? With Naruto. Naruto now sat down in his meditation position and wiped some of the blood out of his jacket and started going through a series of hand signs. Sorry guys, I know I've been asking you guys a lot lately, but help me clean up this last mess and then I'm done. Naruto said to himself as he raises his hand up. What do you think you're doing? The creature demanded as it raised its foot above Naruto. I'll smash you and then devour your soul. Summoning jutsu. A giant puff of smoke erupted with a following of a light earthquake as if something hit the earth. The ground began to shake heavily that it forced the creature backwards a few feet. The ground beneath the spectators began to shake heavily and got some even to cling onto the nearby trees. One of them was Lucy, who yells, what kind of magic is this? Happy watches closely and says looks like Naruto summoned one of his friends. What? Does he have celestial spirits or something? Kageyama spoke while on his knees. Makarov only stood right on his feet and shook his head. You're wrong, my boy. These aren't celestial spirits. Not celestial spirits? Then what did he summon? Look, the smoke is clearing up. The smoke was indeed clearing down, and it first revealed to be a blue happy vest that has the kanji, ebi, on the back. It also carried a massive dose of blade on his hip. It also had a remarkable scare trough one of its eyes. I wonder what that is. Then the smoke cleared the rest of the body. It had rusty red skin and the appearance of an. Kageyama shrieked out of shock and yells, a frog. He summoned a freaking frog. No, it's not a frog, it's a toad. Big difference. Happy corrects him, and he has a name, you know. His name is Gamabunta. But it's huge. Lucy pointed out in disbelief. How can a toad be this big? From what I was told by Naruto, he signed a contract with the toads. Many of them have different tasks from messengers to combatants. I heard there are a series of summoning are out there, like slugs and snakes. Makarov informed the girl. Lucy got the chills through her spine. You. Snakes. Happy commented such rudeness. I heard that. Standing from atop of his summoning, Naruto greeted him. Hey boss. The toad blew out a large amount of smoke out of his mouth, as Gamabunta was smoking his Kizura pipe. As always, what do you want, brat? I need your help dealing with an problem. I see you've been quite busy summoning us for today. First you summoned one of us to deliver yet another hunter ninja back to the Hidden Leaf Village. Then you summoned Kosuke to deliver a message, and now you've summoned me in the middle of the mountains, the Chief Toad said while his eyes looked up to the boy Carry to explain why. Naruto pointed up to the front at. Gamabunta looked forwards and saw the creature that was on the opposite side of him. What's this? Some kind of accursed monster of some sort? You fool! I'm Lullaby, a creation of the Book of Zeref, Master of Dark Magic. Gamabunta just commented at the exclamation of the monster. All I see is a tree gone bad with an eye too much for its head. What? How dare you? The monster yelled back at the toad, showing his clear insecurities. Gamabunta turned his focus back to Naruto. What's the reason why you've summoned me to fight him, brat? I could have easily let someone else take my place and deal with this, because this monster has the ability to kill thousands of lives in a short time span, by using the ability of using death music magic. Naruto calmly explained to the chief. And what use do I have to deal with this nonsense? First, you're able to use your blade to cut through this monster's skin with your blade. Yes. Also, I want to keep the damage rate as small as possible. Due Master Makarov being here and my teammates can be overkill if they go out on free range. Naruto said his second suggestion. You're still in that guild of troublemakers? I will say they fit you. No respect for their elders, free-carrying and so short-tempered that you could get involved in a fight in a matter of minutes, but still a family guild at most. Lucy's sweat dropped listening to the description. Wow, even a massive toad can accurately say what this guild is. Makarov laughed as the toad was true, and puts his thumbs up. That's fairy tale for ya. The others just smirked, liking that for every bit said. You insolent fool! The lullaby creature felt insulted by being forced to fight what was in his eyes an inferior being. I'll first teach this frog bastard a lesson before I will devour your soul. This pissed off the chief toad when he was called an frog. What did you call me, you filthy branch? The sound of an blade could be heard being pulled out as Gamabunta was wielding it, and putting it in front of him. When I'm done with you, you will be nothing than a piece of wood I'll carve into a new smoking pipe. Natsu and Happy's eyes were replaced by stars and were watching the standoff like kids. Oh, this is awesome. Gray couldn't help but agree with Natsu on this one. This looked pretty amazing as he rarely saw Naruto's summonings fight. I'll give you that. The chief toad made his first move by hopping towards the monster as quick as he could with Naruto holding onto him so he didn't fell off. Hang tight, kid! Because I'm going for it. Gamabunta says. Die! The lullaby yells as it opened its mouth and fires a magic beam towards the toad. But before it could hit him, Gamabunta disappeared in a flash. What? Gamabunta then reappeared in front of the monster with his blade ready. Here! Gamabunta spoke as he slashed at the monster. Slash! Slash! Gamabunta went past the lullaby monster. Then a moment later the creature began to cry out as its left arm was cut off from the body and a large scare was given to the chest. Kageyama was in awe. That's one strong toad. Lucy couldn't hide her amazement either. This is just insane. Makarov turned to Urza, Gray and Natsu. Well, what are you waiting for? The three turned to their master and paid attention to him. Makarov smiled. So long you brats don't destroy too much, I'm okay with it. Jumping back a little, Gamabunta had pretty much roughed up the lullaby monster, but it was still standing on its 2 feet. I must say, you keep getting yourself into these situations, kid, Gamabunta said. Naruto agreed. Yeah, that's what I get from hanging around with the people I hang around with. The lullaby monster roared in anger and yells, wait, and you see. I'm going to play a melody so hard that you'll be begging me to end your lives with my bare hands. You only got one left. Branch. Gamabunta pointed out. That's it. The lullaby creature grew angry as he threw its head and was ready to sing. Slash. Urza in one of her requip armors managed to fly up and deliver a blow to the monster's side, enraging it more and bringing it out of balance for just a split moment. Ice make, Lance! Gray yells as he fires from below the monster a dozen ice spears that launched themselves at the demon, hitting it multiple times and forcing it to stagger backwards a few feet, but it was still standing. Natsu was about go and use one of his best attacks but got called. Natsu! Wait a moment, use your best attack when I say so. Naruto yells to his friend just as Gamabunta was preparing for an attack. Natsu nodded. Right. Pathetic wizards, I've had enough. Lullaby roared. I shall end this now. Gave off an air-splitting shriek. It sucked in a huge breath out of everything that was alive. The plants, the trees were dying and it all gave away. The lullaby was preparing its most deadliest attack. Gamabunta turns his eye up to Naruto. Aren't you going to cover your ears? No. Why not? Then when it expects to sing it just wheezed. It just wheezed out of all the holes that were created by the fairy tale members. Because that's what I expected. Naruto explained. I don't understand. Why can I not play my melody of death? It must be because all of those attacks. Kageyama said. Lucy added they created so many holes in that thing it totally messed up its sound. An awkward silence was present between the two giants. All that was for nothing. Gamabunta's sweat dropped. Was this supposed to be your big moment? Or, don't mock me. The lullaby creature yelled as it kicked one of the mountains like an angry child. Gamabunta was about to end this, and had his belly filled up with oil. I'm ready, kid. Right. Naruto nodded and yells, Natsu. We could use your fire now. Alright. Naruto jumped off Gamabunta and was about to do the same thing as the chief toad. Toad oil bullet. Gamabunta / Naruto fired from his mouth an extremely sticky oil, and it was directly at Lullaby monster. It hit him and covered the monster, and it wasn't able to move much. What the? Why can't I move? Naruto landed on the ground and yells now Natsu. Urza yells do it. Gray yells finish it off. I got this. Both of Natsu's hands were covered in flames as he jumped upwards towards the in oil-covered Lullaby monster. A large fireball was created in Natsu's hands and he started yelling with the flames in my right hand, and the flames on my left. Put them together, and you'll get this. Fire Dragon. Brilliant Flame. The Dragon Slayer smashes the attack into the center of the monster, and in the wild body of the monster went up in flames in a split second. An enormous explosion erupted and it created a white light that reached the top of the sky as if it reached heaven itself. Minutes later, standing on top of Gamabunta, Naruto realized it maybe was a mistake to use that last attack, as now a crater was created on where the conference hall was. Well kid, you done it again. Gamabunta said tiredly, you created another mess, and now I'm an accomplice of it. Naruto scratched the back of his head. Yeah, my bad. Normally I would have liked nothing else but to smash you to a little bug, but I can see you only had good intentions. Now I know none of the townspeople were injured. Yeah, don't know if the townspeople themselves see it that way. Naruto sees that they were chasing his friends out of town, not that they mind it. They were used to it. Gamabunta sighs anyway. Go and meet up with your friends before you lose them. Right, thanks chief. Say hey to Gamakichi and Gamatatsu. Naruto jumped off the giant toad and starts running for the others. The chief toad watches as the others waved at him, happily rejoin them and run for the heck of it before the villagers caught them. It brought him to his own thoughts at the young boy. As I suspected, the kid's changed. He still lives with the guilt of killing those damned council members and leaving his village. No doubt in my mind he's blaming himself till this day for what happened after that Uchiha brat tried to defect. Gamabunta himself thought of Naruto first as nothing but a loudmouth brat with a short fuse and some arrogance. But when he learned more of the boy and his actions, he grew keen on him. You may be a short fuse, but you're no coward, kid. To the contrary, you're one of the most dedicated ninjas I've ever met. Even when the whole village is turned against you, you've shown to be loyal to it to the core. Most ninjas of your nature lose it and don't make it long, but I see you've made yourself a new life with these wizards. Let's just keep it that way and stay with them, kid, because if what the elder said is true, then your time to go back to the village will only be a matter of time. Those thoughts were said from the chief toad as he puffed away back to his home. Just like Naruto was going to return back to his guild. It's been a few days since the Eisenwald incident. The news that a group of dark wizards attempted to use death magic to assassinate the guild masters at a conference came as a shock to many. That the Fiori military had to be called and got the citizens of Fiori curious what happened, but when they heard that the Fairy Tail Guild was there to take care of the problem, there were some mixed feelings. On one hand, many folks were glad to know the strongest guild was there to prevent any sort of fatalities, but on the other hand, many were also anxious on what kind of damage the guild would leave behind, giving their reputation of leaving a trail of unintended collateral damage wherever they went. In the end, most of the Eisenwald dark mages that took part of the plot were arrested, and the guild masters were unharmed. Still, there were a lot of questions unanswered, like how the dark mages managed to get a hold on a dark magic artifact that belonged to the dark mage legend Zeref. That is what was now debated in Era, home to the Magic Council headquarters of Fiori. In a dark room with a magic circle with 9 people standing around it, the Eisenwald Guild may have been defeated, but that is only one small victory in a much larger battle. Org, the leader of the circle, said. He was an elderly man with a considerably long beard and a mustache. He always has one of his eyes closed and the other open. His was the second seat of the Magic Council and was perhaps one of Fiori's oldest wizards in the country. He wore multiple robes and was a known skeptic of the Fairy Tail Guild. Of course, this last event did not ease up his view on the destructive guild. I agree, the number of dark guilds have been growing, and at an alarming rate. So we need to come up with a strategy to counter this threat. Another council member added, because a guild like Eisenwald will be quickly replaced as they just had a minor part to what is to come. But how will we do that? Org held up the sealed-up Lullaby flute that took quite the damage. However it's done, we cannot allow Zeref's magic to fall into the wrong hands again. Yajima, a small old man with thick light brown eyebrows and a small toothbrush mustache, gave his opinion to the troubling fact of the situation. I still don't understand how Eisenwald was able to obtain a tool of forbidden magic in the first place, let alone breaking the seal. This only proves more that dark guild like Eisenwald is becoming more of dangerous. I hate to admit it, but Yajima is right. Not only are these organizations gaining more members, but they also start to adapt to more deadlier and hideous tactics that are not even known to this part of the world. I hate to say this, but Yajima may be right, but I fear the blame may go all the way to the top. Another council member suggested, it may sound far-fetched that someone might have given away the location of the Lullaby flute away to the rogue mages, but there were no other ways to confirm otherwise. There were suspicions that the top reason why the dark guilds were growing was because of an insider, someone who may have been aiding the criminals and informing them of the council's decisions, and avoiding the authorities. But who could it be? Whatever the case, we cannot just ignore the 2 reasons why Eisenwald's plan failed. The council members turned to whoever continued this session's main topic. It was a young man with blue hair and a noticeable red tattoo that covered the upper and bottom of his right eye. He was simply known as Seagrain. He crosses his arms and gave no eye contact while explaining, of course I'm talking about the Fairy Tale Guild, and of course the man who took down the Lullaby, Naruto Uzumaki. He already got a chuckle reply from the woman standing between him and Yajima, who added not only did he defeat Erigor the Grim Reaper, he also defeated the Lullaby monster with little to no effort. You got to give it to such a promising man. Some of the council members started mumbling among each other, but Ord did not have it, and said Fairy Tail is one thing that will have to face its crimes, but Naruto Uzumaki is a whole different level. You only say that because Naruto refused to eliminate Erigor like requested, instead of according to the military he was spared and taken into custody, Seagrain said in counter-argument, and still that killer is free. Ord shouted back, if that boy just had done what was ordered to him, we would not risk this menace to roam free again. That's enough, Org. The room became suddenly silent and all council members turned to Yajima. The small man was not the one who would let out an outburst so easily, but when he was angry, he always had a good reason for it. Yajima sighed. He really didn't want to raise his voice, but it was necessary. Listen, we all know what dangers lie beyond that sea. It's a fact that everyone in this council knows of young Naruto's background, and everyone in here, including me, had their concerns. All the council members nodded. But we cannot ignore that he is a boy that has proven himself. He saved numerous of innocent lives fighting against bandits, helped out mages in need, and even helped track down wanted criminals and capturing them. That and others he never killed ever after he was found by Master Makarov as of now, Yajima said in defense of the young boy he knew closely like Makarov and knew his past. Ord kept listening closely at his colleague. So, even with Doma's absence, I will state this yet again. Orc, if you and Doma are again trying to order Naruto to fulfill such a hideous act, I will see no other choice than to enlighten the royal family. Or did you forget that the king had given Naruto special status? No. The bearded man groaned. Of course, he had to bring it up. Naruto had once done a quest for the royal family of Fiori. When King Toma had found out of Naruto's former allegiances and listened to his story, he gained special status. And please let me remind you that Naruto is still one of the very few who still voluntarily comes forwards and help us fight the threat of the dark guilds, while other ex-shinobi like him had chosen life more peaceful. So why not stop the blaming of the young man and start acknowledging the problems that we face even within this institution, that we are the heads of it, Yajima stated as he was done talking. The room was silent for a good moment before the chuckling of Seagrain broke it. Always the humanitarian, aren't you, Yajima? Well, I guess you are right. Consider that in the end, Naruto was mostly responsible for the prevention of Eisenwald's plan, saving lives yet again and making sure none of us had to step down from our well-earned positions on this council to save face. You fool! One of the council members named Leiji protested. Are you insinuating the council is somehow to blame? Enough of this nonsense. Ord yelled. Even though Yajima is right on the issue of Uzumaki's status, that does not mean he's not responsible, nor is his guild. At the end of the day, Fairy Tail's good deeds are overshadowed by their reckless destruction. Seagrain's mouth gave a growing smile as he suggests, then why don't we take the opportunity to discuss the matter with them? We can do that. Ord agreed as he asked who were the members of Fairy Tail were in on it. Except for Uzumaki, I believe there were Natsu Drangneil, Grey Fullbuster, an unidentified female who just joined the guild, and Urza Scarlet as the leader. Belno said, reading from a scroll. That's what the guild masters have stated through the report. Drangneil and Fullbuster in one team? Ord yelled out of anger. Those two troublemakers have caused more property damage over the years than the whole guild can do in a decade. What was Scarlet thinking putting them on the same team? Considering they are powerful, I could say she wanted to make a safe bet. It doesn't matter. Send someone to arrest Urza Scarlet and bring her in for the trail. We'll do a show for the sake of it. Will do. Seagrain chuckled. I thought they were going to get a punishment. Ugh, try and explain that to the king, and I want Uzumaki also. He isn't there. The last thing I know is that he went with the Fiori military who held the Eisenwald mages to the cells at the Fiori branch council building, Yajima said. Ord was surprised. Why? I don't know, but I'm about to find out, Yajima answered. He had his suspicions on what Naruto might be doing. National Council Fiori branch, prison cells. Kageyama was sitting in his own bed, in his cell, waiting for his trial for the numerous crimes he had committed. Coming over here, he was ignored by his fellow guildmates. It looked like they were angry for him not finishing the job they all had been working on for weeks. Only his friends in the guild didn't bail out on him and tried to back him up. Only now were they like anyone else, separated from each other and into their own cells. Hey! Kageyama looked up and saw that on the other side of the bars was Naruto Uzumaki, with his mask covering his mask and the bandana his one eye. He then saw the guy pull over a chair. What do you want? Kageyama asked without looking at him. It's not like I got anything to offer you, fly. No, but I have. Naruto said, tuning around the chair, and then sat on it. I mean, maybe if you are interested. You don't have anything else to do than to listen. Kageyama thought for a moment. He had nothing else to do and the boredom was killing him. Honestly, what do you have to say? Instead of saying anything, Naruto pulled out a paper and placed it on the floor and shoved it forwards. Kageyama took the paper and saw it was written. What's this? Naruto just sighs and says, just read the damn thing and you'll find out. Kageyama kept reading the paper. The moment he was finished is when he starts clutching his hands into it and eyeing it with disbelief. TT, this is an official paper reducing your sentence to only 3 months jail time. Naruto said what the paper was as he just sat there with the signature of the king of Fiori himself. Tomai. Fiori and effective immediately. You and your friends. Not all of them but that group that was backing you up. Kageyama dropped to his knees and looked up to the man who was actually offering him a second chance to live outside. Even after all the crimes he had committed in the name of his guild, someone who he had fought against just not that long ago was offering him something he did not expect from him. Of course you may want to ask why I would give someone like you a second chance. After all, you almost was successful in killing all the guild masters in one sweep if you played that flute. But here is where I need some information. Naruto pulls out something else out of his jacket, and then slams it on the floor in front of Kageyama. It was an explosive tag. Kageyama recognized that. What do you want to know about it? Don't play games with me. Naruto got to the point. You know better than I do why I am asking about this. I saw you activating it, meaning you have some knowledge of using it. Also, this kind of explosives are clearly not from around here. Yeah, they are from your country. Kageyama said, staring at Naruto, the shinobi continent. Naruto nodded. That's right. As you may know, this kind of weaponry isn't easy to get on this side of the ocean. Let that it's illegal to possess them. So tell me. Naruto raises the explosive tag up and waved it around with it in front of the shadow magic user. How did you get these? Behind the blonde ex-shinobi walked up to a small man who stopped his tracks and started listening in on the conversation. Kageyama thought for a moment before thinking, why not? It's a good deal. Okay. I tell you where I got these explosives. Later upstairs, standing in the middle of the courtroom, Erza Scarlet was hearing the charges from an official while the council members were sitting while the charges were being read by an official. Erza Scarlet, you stand before the council to answer for the charges that are stemming from the incident involving the Dark Guild Eisenwald. Yajima sighs as he saw that on the bench near the door. Naruto was busy his notebook. He was writing down something. These charges include extensive damage to Ashibana Station, damages to the railways and complete destruction of the conference hall of Clover. Erza blinked twice. These were all things Naruto had done. Why the hell is she held accountable for this, and not him? She briefly looks back and sends an angry glare at Naruto, hoping to remind he won't get away with that easily. The blonde man just smiled at her, and gave a small wave with an eye smile. Not seeming to care that he would be in some real trouble later on with the angry redhead woman. There are 11 property damage charges against you. The official kept talking. According to eyewitness reports, the perpetrator to all of this is described as a heavily armored female wizard. Naruto shook his head, smirking. Surely they must have the wrong person. The doors behind Naruto imploded and debris of the doors flew everywhere. All the council members were stunned by what happened and turned to the door. Out from the dust clouds appeared Natsu, wearing a disguise that was meant to look like Erza, wearing a skirt, some wooden pallets, a wig that barely covered his hair, and some wings that looked obviously fake. Naruto looked at him and was trying to figure out, should he feel embarrassed or should he just laugh it out? Natsu went on a rant on how he was the crazy lady they were looking for while obviously giving away he was Natsu Drangneo by spouting out fire through his mouth and speaking, with his angry voice. The one council member who sat in the middle and was the leader just sighed. Erza did the only decent thing she could do and apologized with a bow. I'm so terribly sorry for this. What are you doing, Erza? Don't apologize to these council jerks. I mean, I am Erza. Whack. Naruto head chopped Natsu, knocking the dragon slayer out and breaking the disguise in two. Natsu passed out as his body twitched multiple times. Sorry Natsu, but it's time for you to take a nap. Naruto turns to Erza. Can you drag him back to the guild? Sure, but the dash? I'll handle these charges. Naruto said, patting her shoulder. Besides, I'm the one who caused all of this anyway, even if this is just for show. Erza nodded and turns to Natsu, sighing. Damn it, Natsu. That trial was just a formality. She starts dragging the dragon slayer's unconscious body away to the exit as they were being escorted out by the guards. Naruto Uzumaki. He turns around to the Magic Council, seeing that the person addressing him was the one in the middle of the seats. It was Org, Doma's second, who called him by his full name. This was the perfect moment to talk with the council about something important, he was told by Kageyama. He also noticed some of the council members eyed him with their own interest. Like the blue-haired Seagrain who was responsible for the arrest of Erza had his own twisted reasons why to bring the shinobi here, while another young female council member, who had pale skin, brown eyes and dark purple hair, was scanning the man in front of him, chuckling as she thought him, Uzumaki. Later, back at the guild hall, Naruto, Erza and Natsu got back to the guild hall and explained everything that had happened. That the trail was just a fluke and it was supposed to be a slap on the wrist. We got Erza out of jail, Natsu said, celebrating while spitting fire out. Running around like a child who got a piece of candy, he began annoying some of the other guild mates. Shut up. Yeah, put a sock in it. Mary Jane just giggled while serving Naruto and Makarov a drink. Isn't he precious when he gets all excited? Naruto smiles. Yeah, but you should have seen what Natsu was wearing, he said before drinking from the glass of water he ordered. Lisana leaned against the counter and was curious what Naruto meant by oh. What do you mean? Naruto thought of thinking back and starts laughing. You wouldn't believe me even if I told you. This got Lisana wondering what he meant by before he gestures him to lean closer. She did, and he tells into her hear what Natsu wore, and this got Lisana's cheeks to flush and join in on the laughter with Naruto, who couldn't contain it anymore. The others, like Lucy, who had her head on the table, exhausted of all the panicking. I can't believe that stupid arrest and trial was all for the show. All that worrying for nothing. So she wasn't a sacrificial lamb, but a scapegoat, Grace said, trying to figure out. You must be one heck of an ice wizard, because even your jokes leave me cold. Came from a griming elfman before he remembered something and turned to Natsu. Hey Natsu, are you going to finish it with Urza or what? Natsu stopped his celebrating and grew a confident grin. Oh yeah. Naruto turned to Mary Jane. What? Was it not finished? She shook her head. Nope. The council interrupted the fight before one of them could hand over the first blow. What was the bet? Thud. Naruto turns around to the noise and saw that Natsu lay broken on the ground was standing over him. Urza with a fist. Urza. Couldn't you wait until I had put a bet? Naruto complained in a mock tone, gaining laughter from the other guildmates, knowing that if Naruto places a bet on something he would automatically win. Like he had the luck of the devil with gambling. Urza smiled and came back with a mock question. And letting you walk away with everyone's hard-earned money? She released a small laugh before saying, sorry Naruto, but next time be on time. Naruto smirks just as he leaned back against the counter, just next to Master Makarov, who he noticed wasn't joining into the laughter with the others. Hey old man, what's up? Makarov turned to Naruto. We need to talk, in private. Then a surge of strong magic emerges, making somehow everyone's eyes sleepy, and everyone began to lay down slowly. This could only be one thing. Look like we can talk, Naruto said mystigan. Everyone began to sleep. First Lisana and Mary Jane dropped to the ground and then all the others fell asleep. The only ones standing on the ground floor were Naruto and Makarov as a person was coming through the door. It was a person wearing a dark blue cloak with his arms and legs covered in bandages, and to conceal his identity he wore a dark blue bandana with a silver forehead protector, and a green mask that obscured the bottom half of his face, and he was holding onto one of his magic staves. This was Mystigan. Naruto greeted him with a nod. Mystigan. Naruto master. The mysterious man said as he walks over to the board and picks up a quest before walking over to the master. I shall return. Wait. Makarov said, the first end the sleeping spell of yours before you leave. He then turns to Naruto. And you, we'll talk when it's dark. Both men nodded before Naruto starts walking next to Mystigan. I'll lead you out. We got something to discuss anyway. No problem, Mystigan said as he began counting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Makarov watches as both men who were perhaps equally strong leave the guild hall, leaving for all the others to wake up from their forced sleep except for Natsu. Knowing what Naruto and Mystigan may discuss, he knew that both men held an interest of doing services of helping each other. Both men stood outside the guild hall as Naruto hands him over a sealed scroll. Here, the information about Ida loss. Mystigan accepted the scroll. Naruto then pulls out a small letter. This letter contains the address for the 4 guys who will be given pardons over the next few months. You just need to bring them there and make sure no one comes after them. Mystigan nods as he accepts the letter. Also, I will help you get these men to safety. Naruto nodded as he thought it through. Hopefully, those guys will be wise enough to take the pardon. If you got any problems, just send me a message. Will do. See you Naruto, Mystigan said before taking his leave and walking down the street with the scroll and letter he had received. Naruto watches as how the mysterious person he trusted with this favor disappeared in thin air. Some cursing and yelling were heard from inside the guild, and one of those voices sounded all too familiar. He decided to go back inside to see what was happening. What are you trying to say? Urza was pissed off and was glaring at the person on the second floor named Laxus, who just called her a redhead, and that she somehow is lower than him. Laxus is a long and muscular young man with blonde spiky hair that was mostly slicked back and a notable lightning bolt-shaped scare through his right eye. Laxus smirked. I'm trying to say that I am the strongest wizard of this guild, plain and simple. Naruto enters through the front door and heard the commotion and saw the person standing on the second floor. Oh Laxus, you finally socialize with us. I wonder when you would come out from up there. Everyone turned to Naruto with surprise. Did he knew that Laxus was here all that time? Laxus' smirk grew wider. Naruto, come on, just be realistic. You're a strong wizard yourself, so even you have to see that I'm the strongest wizard here. I don't know, I can agree on that, Naruto said as he leaned on the same table where Kana and Alzak were sitting at. Oh, and why is that? Laxus asked without his grin fading away. I never saw you spar with any of the other wizards who are considered powerful. Mystigan and the Ace barely stay here for you to challenge, and we can't forget the old man and Urza here. They can't be forgotten, Naruto argued as he kept staring lazily at Laxus while just claiming instead of proving it. Maybe then I'm convinced. Some of the other guildmates couldn't help but feel the tension that was boiling between the two blondes, and this got the newest member Lucy slightly curious. The celestial mage asked Elfman and Gray, who do I get the feeling that those guys hating each other? Gray and Elfman didn't respond and kept looking between the two wizards as some sweat was falling from Elfman's forehead. The tension got everyone nervous to know who was going to do what. Laxus' grin turned more sinister, as small bolts of lightning were visibly appearing out of his hand that he was leaning his chin on. Why don't we see for that right now, huh? If you insist, Naruto says calmly while holding his hand over his jacket, where his kunai was. Were they really going to fight? Right here and now? Then the sound of Makarov's staff bottom hitting the counter broke the standoff, clearly stating that he would not tolerate this. That's enough out of you, Laxus the guild master said without even looking up. You both are strong wizards without a doubt, but if you want to fight to keep it then at least on friendly terms or else. Laxus just scoffed it, and walks away. Too bad, I wanted to see if you could be a challenge to me, Naruto. Even Natsu had the guts to try me on. Why you? Natsu growled as he was about to jump to the second floor, about to teach Laxus a lesson. Then he was grabbed by the head and forced down on the ground by Naruto. Stay out of this, Natsu, Naruto said as he kept looking up to the second floor. The grin on Laxus' face turned into a glare. Naruto's only visible eye gave it back and both men gave one last glare to each other. One day Laxus, one day, later in the guild hall. As it was pretty late, the only ones left in the guild hall were Lysana, Mary Jane, and Lucy, who were all by the counter. The Strauss sisters were about to close up after being done cleaning the last glasses and mugs that were used. Lucy meanwhile kept sticking around. But she then asked a question that had been bothering her for some time now. Say girls, what's with the tension between Naruto and that Laxus guy? Lysana looks over to Mary Jane, and she sighs, following by a nod. Lysana turns to Lucy and starts talking. You see, Lucy, while you can see that everyone in the guild can get along with each other, no problem, still a brawl here and there. Laxus always had this belief that fairy tales should be exclusive to only the strongest of the strong, meaning he would like to ban everyone who is in his eyes weak and vulnerable. He even goes saying that he would feel no sympathy for anyone who had been beaten badly. That's cold, Lucy said, not believing that someone like Laxus could be in this guild full with people she befriended with. How come he got into this guild in the first place? Mary Jane dropped a sad fact. Because Laxus is Master Makarov's grandson. What? He's Master Makarov's grandson? Lucy said shockingly. How could someone like Laxus be related to a kind-hearted person like Master Makarov? Yes, he is, Mary Jane said while drying up the last cleaned-up glass. Lucy then asks, but what's the trouble between him and Naruto? Because Naruto had once confronted Laxus, Lysana said, thinking back, and it almost turned into an all-out fight between him and Laxus. If it wasn't for the master, things could have gone horribly wrong. Mary Jane turned towards them. That tension between Laxus and Naruto has been there for years. It was not abnormal for everyone else in the guild to side with Naruto more, since everyone held a bad view of Laxus, well, except for Naruto. Naruto? Now Lucy was confused. What else did he view him? More of sorrow, pity. Mary Jane said, somber disappointment. It's something I cannot explain, but I never really saw any anger in Naruto towards Laxus. It's just not him. In Makarov's office, Naruto and the master just were talking about something important. Galuna Island, Makarov said. That cursed island? Naruto nodded. Yeah, apparently someone who's been seen using a rowboat, placing an explosive tag on the desk. Kageyama said to me the guy sold him the same kind of papers like these from offshore, and then goes back to that same island. And you believe that, boy? Makarov asked for certainty. How do you know he's not lying? What good would come out of it? Naruto said he doesn't even know the man, so it's easy to tell. Besides, he didn't do it for nothing. His freedom? Why not? It's a waste for a young man like him. Doing a crime he only committed out of anger. Hatred can make some people do horrible things without realizing it themselves. Makarov understood what Naruto was talking about. He didn't have to guess what was going through the former shinobi's head. Naruto sighs as he stood up. I'm planning on leaving now. The sooner I get there, the quicker the job is done. Are you sure you don't want any backup? Makarov asked again. Someone like Urza. No, this I have to do it on my own, Naruto said as he looked through the window, noticing all the lights from the buildings going out. No need to bother anyone after such a day. Makarov nodded. All right, but be careful, and when you're done with the mission, don't stay too long on that island. I heard it is cursed. No problem. Well, I'll see you, old man, Naruto said as he went through the open door. Later, brat. Makarov said. Now, where is my pipe? What if Naruto wears a mask? Fairy tale. And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoyed this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel, and leave a like if you guys need the next part. Comment down, and thanks for watching the video, and see you guys in the next video.